Hey, buddy.
Greetings and salutations. So, technical problems?
Oh man, I don't know what is going. Hey, Gina. I don't know what's going on with the desktop version of TikTok Studio, but it keeps shutting off my microphone like every couple of seconds. It's rather irritating.
The question is, are you playing with some unusual tactics and stuff on your end?
No, no.
Let me have a look at your name again. No, this one is a normal one. Because in the other name, I've noticed something which resembles kind of a script type of indicators. You have some ampersand and something that would have more. I would associate
No, it's
with
just
databases.
it's just an @ symbol and then $sign for the S, Sledge Knuckle, Cash App and Venmo. That's all.
Yeah, but that's a symbol for you, which is means something to you, but to a computer it may mean something else. Those symbols are used in some databases and stuff.
Huh.
Ah.
I'm not aware of that.
Wow. You know how words have meanings?
Yeah.
Symbols have too.
I mean, I know that computers do have their own language, C++ and all that shit, but I don't know. I've never had an issue with it in the past, so. And you'd think that TikTok being as let's say it as advanced as it is, as an app.
Wrong avenue. There is no software without bugs.
I mean, I know that much.
It doesn't exist.
That's the thing, though, is it's not just me that's having problems with it. Like, most people in the United States are having problems with their TikToks.
I wouldn't go that far. I think it's wider than that, but what would you expect?
I got friends in Germany and stuff that aren't having any issues with it, and like some folks in the UK that aren't having any issues with it. I got friends in Africa that aren't having any issues with it. You know.
Okay.
I don't know what the problem is in itself, but
it's not likely that we are talking about closed source software, so we will not know.
Yeah.
Something may eventually pop up, if we're lucky, within weeks by independent researchers, but if you're not lucky, it can be decades. Okay, whatever. But okay, I suppose what you're saying is you're not trying experimental features or manipulations.
No, I'm not trying anything. I'm not trying anything new. I'm not doing anything like aside from like utilizing the desktop version of TikTok Studio. Like, I'm not really doing anything different at all. And like, I spent the better part of the last like week and a half, 2 weeks, kind of like building a set of images and stuff for the for TikTok Studio on desktop, just so I don't have to like worry about making them up every time I want to go live.
I'll tell you this, for all
Damn,
I can
FDM Never
see,
Stop. I
the
love that name.
throughput of the traffic through this live is very low. If I open the live, pretty much people are coming by every few seconds or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that happening here.
Well, this is also a smaller profile. I have way less followers on this one. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they let me go live at all.
You are comparable to my profile.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Since I now have to go back to using my fucking cell phone.
How come you don't expect any repercussions for, oops, there we go. It's your music. Okay.
For the music?
I was wondering if it's a music or echoing music.
Oh yeah, it's I have music on my laptop going on.
How come you're not worried about censorship regarding to the registered content and stuff like that?
Because I learned how to put registered content online without getting flagged for it a long time ago. The trick is to cover it with a bunch of shit and change the contrast.
Okay.
That's how people get away with fucking posting brand new movies that are in theater on YouTube all the time.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for the info.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Lord have mercy. Okay. Gonna go ahead and turn this off. That closed out. That closed out.
To be honest, I have audio issues too, but I don't think I will be able to do anything about it. I'm inching my way towards full factory reset, but I don't think that will fix it necessarily either.
Yeah, no, it's happening mainly with just TikTok, so I don't really think that doing a factory reset's going to do anybody any good.
No, paradoxically, in my case, TikTok will work on any device, but FaceTime, Facebook Messenger won't accept microphone.
Huh.
And Siri
Weird.
won't. Siri is not listening to me on the iPad either.
Weird.
It is.
Hey, Pear Naomi,
So-
come on up.
Software specific thing that I don't think comes from my device. But hey,
Well, you never know. I've never heard of anybody having issues with the Facebook platform for their any meta services for their microphones. I mean, that's one of the things Facebook loves doing is turning on your microphone.
then I have differences like on the iPhone, the sound is being picked up in wide spectrum and too loud. On the iPad, people can't hear me. Same manufacturer, different results with different software. It just doesn't make much sense,
weird.
does it?
Yeah, not a lot of all this stuff
Yes.
makes a whole lot of sense anymore, but you know.
It's gonna get weirder,
you can with
weirder. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's going to be entertaining as hell, but, whatever.
Yeah, but the question
So,
is where to go. If I was on the computers, I would have gone to Linux a long time ago, but I gave up on computers completely. But the question is what to do with a mobile phone, assuming I want one. I'm guessing I may have to resort to those, what's Xiaomi or something, Chinese stuff. Or order one of that Braxton guy, Canadian guy, de-googled Androids.
yeah. So I've got a
Just
couple of different episode scripts that I am kind of mulling over as to which one I want to throw up there, but I'm going to leave that to a vote from people as soon as we can get some folks in here. Let's see. Yeah, I've got like 5 different scripts that I kind of want to pull tonight after the myriad of stupid lives I saw today.
today I had the first live where people turned on me.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
What happened? Tell me about it.
Well, instead of debating the topic, they all wanted to know where I'm from and try to explain stuff like that. And then I said that I'm from Croatia, and they exploded. And and because later on they asked me where do I live, and I said Australia. So why did you say you're from Croatia? So, don't you know how English language functions or something like that?
That's funny.
But no, funny thing is that the guy who was talking nonsense, who was an Australian, um, was accusing me that I'm allergic to the right and that I'm hard right in the same time. 2 sentences, one after the other, and that works in his head.
Wow, okay. Well, oh. Oh, that person's name is weird.
Which I don't mind. That's one imbecile, but there is. There was quite a group of them which were going and trying to ascertain which age am I, when did I move to Australia, why do I like Australia, why do I call myself Australian, why did I say that I'm from Croatia. Oh my God, it's just too stupid.
Ugh. So, let's see. Thank you for liking the live, Loon. I appreciate you. Naomi, if you're down there, feel free to come on up. I kind of need to run a couple of episodes by folks to see what they would like to have a discussion about. Because at this point, the amount of lives I watched today where they were like set up to be conversationals about subjects, it just devolved into infighting and shit. It was so fucking stupid.
Admit, what's your obsession with the cats?
What do you mean, what's my obsession with cats?
Look at your photo, it's always some kind of cat or other. You like cats for some reason.
I identify with them rather strongly.
All right.
No, we already did the cult of personality episode.
I mean, I do appreciate the level of fuck it all, which is associated with cats. That's valuable.
I mean, so humans domesticated dogs, right? And
Yeah,
the thing that's cooler than that is that cats domesticated humans.
I appreciate that. Did I tell you a joke about the cat and a dog uh, going to heaven?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so they meet the God, and the God addresses the dog. Says, "Have you been a good dog?" And the dog says, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah. I've been good. I've been good. I've been fetching sticks, and I've been playing with the ball, and I was wiggling my tail, and I was making my owner happy. I was a good boy. I was a good boy." And he looks at the cat. "Have you been a good cat?" And the cat looks at him and says, "You're sitting in my seat, mate."
Uh, that's fucking funny. Oh, I like that. You know what? That's not a terrible idea. I think I'll go with that script. It's so cold it hurts. Yeah, if you guys don't mind just like tapping like and share while I get this set up and get to the episode here shortly. If you hold a finger down on these here cat statues, you can share out rapidly.
Hey? Literally, Loon, I give you permission to speak.
Aw, Peaceful, why can't you stay? Well, I appreciate you, Peaceful. I wish you could stick around. We're gonna have, I need some help, like, figuring out one of the scripts. Because I got, like, 5 different scripts that I kind of want to do all of them, but there's no way I'm spending 10 hours doing this shit today. On calls till 9:30. Okay. I can respect that.
Another thing of interest is, for example, the phone. I have a headphones plugged in, and this works. Same headphones, if I plug them into the iPad, it cuts off microphone. As does the hub.
Strange. Yeah, I'm coming to. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do, like, right now. But I think I'm just gonna. I think I'm just gonna do the engagement episode. But yeah, if you want to come over to the Discord and chat it out, we can. Yeah.
Hey, I'm
So
just jumping on here for a minute, guys. It's easier to talk than
no
to
worries.
text.
No worries. No
And I
worries.
wanted to say good
So
morning in person.
I've got 5
Come,
different
let's-
episodes that I want to do, but I think I'm just going to do the importance of engagement episode. Because I mean, when it comes right down to it, like, imagine that you're like scrolling through your feed and you see just like a super powerful fucking video from one of the homies, and they're like documenting their mutual aid or whatever. And of course, you like agree with it and appreciate everything they're doing, but you don't like it, you don't comment it, you don't share it. and then multiply that by like 100 or 1,000, even like a fucking million, and that person's post is just buried, invisible, even though it was like really super important and it was the truth. Just like that, the algorithm just like wins, and the system wins, and nothing ever fucking happens.
You know,
What
saying
make,
that. Oh, I'm sorry.
what makes you think that whatever you do will actually be propagated through the system?
Because it's an algorithm. The algorithm
You know how
functions
the
off of engagement.
look. I have a video that I took a screenshot. So there was a video probably on the Facebook, and I liked it, and I clicked like, and the count goes up, the red the heart turns red, and the count goes up. After a second, by some glitch perhaps, it was not supposed to be that way, I suppose, the heart goes empty again, and the count goes down. I have it recorded. So in proper function, I assume you click the thing, but whether it was not supposed to see the change back. But if it's functioning properly, you would think that you have liked the video, and you have liked the video, but that doesn't mean it has been propagated through the system.
I have a
There's
question. Do you understand the difference between someone who has 100 followers and someone who has 1,000,000?
yeah, someone's pumping up the numbers.
No, it's engagement. It's people choosing to stick around and continue engaging and continue putting out that information and sharing it with their friends and family so that those people eventually also become interested. That's the difference.
I wonder if you understand what I'll tell you now. So I was talking to the guy. So it was cybersecurity related, and the guy was a spy. And the topic became somehow problem with the computer. How do I know what the problem is? I said, I can see the message. I said, do you think that the problem and the message, that's pre-programmed. It's not necessarily the same thing. Just because you don't know what the problem is, you know what computer is showing you, that does not need to be the same thing.
What does that have to do with what I just said?
You have given me a plausible theory of how that works, but the fact is that we do not know. It's a closed source code. So how does it actually function may not be the way you think it's functioning. You won't know until someone analyzes the code, and no one can unless they have access to the source code.
Well, it doesn't change the fact that if there are 1,000,000 people engaging, there are going to be 1,000,000 people liking, maybe following, right? That's how it works. People have to engage for the content to get more exposure. People do pay to promo stuff, but the thing is, you can't buy all of them, and you can't make money buying all of them
You
either.
don't have to.
Can I finish?
I know how to code in reduction of the likes or engagement, how to multiply it. It's a simple mathematical function.
Alright, I guess let me put this a little simpler. The point is, you should be liking the videos that your friends are putting out, especially when you agree with it. That's the point. And if you think that it's useless to engage with other people's videos, then you might be remiss to find out that people will start having the same attitude.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Anyways, thank you for coming through, Peaceful. Yeah, just check in with me on the on Discord, and I'll get some ideas from you. Because at this point, like, I'm pretty sure I've covered most areas that I find to be excessively important. And I could use some some alternative conversationals. Yeah, autism keeps me from being super aware of what people actually like. So, who else in here, man? I see 5 heads in here. Oh. All right. Do, do, do. Yeah, and really, when it comes right down to it, Loon does have a really good point. You know, even if it weren't to stimulate the algorithm or whatever, like if you are seeing something that you agree with, you should be engaging with it. Period. If you have the time to engage on random people's fucking cooking videos and shit like that, then you have the time to engage on an important subject that one of your friends or one of your comrades is putting up there. And you know, if nothing else, it's just another aspect of basic human decency. You know, if one of your friends is over at your place and they're having a rather energetic discussion about something they're very passionate about, and you just like ignore them the whole time, it's really kind of fucking rude and makes you a terrible friend. Hey, what's up, yada yada? Okay. Hey Aries, welcome in. Glad you made it back. Fun kit. That's where my problem is. Okay. Layout. Okay. Aries, come back in the box. Oh. Fine. Hi. Only listed concern is the price. What are you talking about? The hell? What are you? I can't see your image, homie.
Well, you can't see the whole thing. I don't know why it, like, blasted it that big, but basically, there's a news article that I just saw come across my feed, and Donald Trump's facing scrutiny over costs for
Of
trying to
course he is.
expand Alcatraz.
That's the
Costs,
only thing
that's
anybody
it.
cares about.
Literally. And I don't know. Like, I've seen so much bullshit tonight already, and I'm already super annoyed, so I, am a little short fused today.
I couldn't tell.
Hold on, I have to go do something. I'll be back later, okay?
Alrighty. Thanks for coming in, bud. Okay. Listen here. I'm gonna kick you.
That was literally an accident. I shrunk myself immediately after. I was trying to shrink it, and you literally expanded when I clicked the button.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Okay.
So what's the topic?
Engagement. But
What are we starting?
again, well, there's only you two here in the room. So while I enjoyed just having a chat with the homies, I don't like holding discussionals or educationals for no people. And
No,
like
you're good. That's why I was
I
like,
feel like I feel like having the echo chamber of just people who already know and understand defeats the entire purpose of having the conversation.
you want us to muck about in chat or just like and share?
um, like, share. Um, I was doing some research while I was watching the episode, and it turns out that the prime times for posting videos that have a higher chance of going viral are at between 6 and 9 a.m., 12 and 1 p.m., and then 5 and 7 p.m. Because, work schedules.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fucking obnoxious.
When isn't it though?
Tuesdays, apparently. Ugh. The fuck. Yeah, exactly. People are watching lives when they're getting ready, and they're fucking. They are having a grand old time making people fucking viral with their attention. Which, like, I'm not the most put off about virility or anything like that. Like, none of that shit fucking bothers me. But I would like people to have an opportunity to, like, learn something. I feel like we're not doing enough of that. Potato, tomato. Okay.
I'm trying. At least I'm typing stuff.
Oh. Oh.
Ask some questions to respond to in chat or something. Like, I can't talk to myself the whole time.
Alright, give me a second. I'll just put up a fucking prompt on the window. Paste. Okay. Nope, wrong button. Jesus fucking Christ. $2 from now, huh? Is it because you're inside and everyone's asleep? Hey, Sophia. All right. Let me turn on some of that crap. Well, I mean, if you think about it, Michelangelo definitely was loving his neighbor.
Who's usually up right now?
The East Coast.
I mean, like, in our group. Do you know anybody who's usually up right now so I can specifically send it to them? You're muted.
Fucking fat thumbs. Torsdag and Paul and pretty much fucking everybody that's in the Discord. What's up, Punky? How you doing? Not like they stuck around. I am totally down to watch the sunrise with you. Welcome in, Meep. Yeah, get in here.
Good morning. I just got
Headphones stopped
hammered.
working. Hold on a second.
What's up?
I just got nannered, but I won my appeal like really quick.
Oh,
I got
I
nannered
commented. Oh,
right
what's
after I
up?
said all children should have food to eat, and I got nannered.
Duh. You know what? In this country, I'm not surprised. I got a comment permanently removed. Like I appealed it and they denied it because I commented on something on one of your videos and I said bark bark. I don't know if you got that before they took it down.
Oh my gosh, they be doing stuff like that all the time. It's wild.
They mad because I don't remember who it was, but it was that dude that it was that one video where like a bunch of people were commenting a bunch of like nonsense, and so I replied
Yeah.
to everybody on it. They knew. I'm sorry you got nannered.
Oh, it's okay. I won my appeal like really quick.
Yeah, I'm glad, but it also sucks to happen because it's like I'm not gonna lie, I'm like 4 seconds away from a crash out every time that happens.
Yeah, I feel that.
It just be
To be
pissing me
fair,
off.
though.
Hmm?
To be fair, though, you're like 4 seconds from a crash out all the time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you'll understand. All right, the arteries in my neck are tight. And that's the kind of night it's been. I'm like really trying not to be a crash out, but like I keep cracking my neck because it's so sore because I keep getting so mad.
Hey, Sledge, are you in danger after saying that?
You
I
know,
guess we'll get started
generally, you're
tomorrow.
not supposed to ask that question in front of the possible perpetrator because that could end
Ah,
up with the victim getting injured.
That is so me too, though. I will crash out over the smallest, stupidest stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. A fly like one of the tiny ones too flew at me, and I was angry, and it took everything I had to not scream at that thing.
Oh, thank you for not screaming in my house. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, Pookie, I got you. I'm a reasonable crash out.
Y'all, there must be a God. Guess what I
Yeah,
found this
dude.
morning?
What?
I found 5 shorts in a pack that I didn't know I had.
Nice.
And I've been out, so I was like, ah.
I was going to
Found
ask
this
if you
one,
found
but
the will to live, but it sounds like you did.
found me 5 shorts.
As you should. Hear me out. It's the least the big man in the sky can do for you after Easter. That shit was crazy.
Right? What happened Easter? I barely remember Easter.
Oh, it's a joke because Jesus Buddha juice and like Jesus died for like 3 days, and Easter was the
Oh,
day
yeah.
he was resurrected.
I was slow on that one.
No, you're good. Aries, don't look at me like that. A Pope joke? No, it's too soon. It's too soon. I have no respect for Catholicism, but the fact that I still get to be like JD Vance killed the Pope and it
Too
upsets people.
soon. It can't be too soon. You're 2 days behind Donald Trump.
Hey, that man is early to every party he should have never gone to, so.
Yeah, except for his own funeral.
Yes, we love TikTok Shop. Chapel Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, Dolly Parton song.
Dalai Lama.
Yes. Oh wait, I can't see, but that definitely looks like a Ninja Turtles thing. I just can't see any better than that.
It is. It's Raphael. It's my favorite one.
Fuck, that's funny.
I mean, honestly, unfortunately can relate. Can relate. But for toxic reasons. Aries. Hold up, I got you.
Jesus be like, I got my free rascal.
Actually, Jesus' dad marked him on the down low and was like, "Oh, whoopsies! I guess I care about you."
Oopsies.
Teehee. Honestly, hear me out. Okay, I
Couldn't
just
make
thought of this.
Abraham kill his own son, so I guess I have to bring mine back from the fucking dead.
What?
I said, couldn't make Abraham kill his own son. Had one of my angels stop him, so I guess I should probably bring mine back from the dead.
No. Oh my gosh. He's like, almost went pretty bad with Mary. Probably shouldn't try it again. Let's just bring the other one back.
Ruthless.
Nah. I mean, like, it's like a dark, funny joke, but like, seriously, that shit is so crazy. There's no way the Bible could be real, because there's no way that could happen in those times, and she'd be fine, for real.
TikTok gave me the boot.
Uh, why?
I don't know.
was just saying, let me keep audio on the fucking laptop.
I found myself back at my For You page.
Damn. Sorry, I'll try and say more heinous stuff so it's me next time.
Oh no, it's all good. I think it's my phone. I don't know. It does this to me all the time.
Honestly, it could be, but also, like, we've had other people be booted.
Yeah, it's actually super common for people to get randomly booted out of my page without anybody doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they went hard on Julie, like, for a couple of days. Like, every time she tried to join up, like, she was getting kicked. Like, in the same live, I think it kicked her like 7 times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she'd come in, she'd hang out for a minute, and then she'd be back at her For You page. Over and over and over and over.
When that happens, check to see if the app needs an update. Because usually when I'm able to update it, it works a little better for a while.
Oh.
But every time it does, it doesn't mean it needs an update. So I don't know.
I'm gonna check on that on my laptop right now and see if that fixes the thing. By the way, we're gonna be having a conversation about engagement because, well, I was thinking about doing all these other ones because of all these fucking lives I've been seeing that kind of irritate the hell out of me. But I was like, you know what? Fuck that. We should just probably have a conversation about supporting each other. Let's see. Wool. Why wool?
Seemed biblically accurate for the situation. My bad. White boy can't catch a vibe nowadays.
So something that I found works really well is to, like, if you want to engage in somebody's post to like help try to boost it, if you go in there and drop comments that are 12 words or more, and it's being utilized by a lot of folks in like Huzza and stuff like that. But if you search up a specific topic or a certain like trending item or something like that and do it over and over and over again, it'll create a search tag in the comments. And if you just keep engaging that way in the comments, like multiple repeated posts in the comments, it'll actually help boost that post. So keep that in mind. But I'm tired. For a kidney, but free shipping. God damn it. Oh. Can you beat free sheeping though? Buddha Juice, is that your hair? That is a fucking fantastic haircut. Fuck yeah. I love that.
Oh yeah, no. Buddha just got immaculate style. I creep on their page all the time, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a weirdo.
I mean, I knew that.
Hey! Don't be telling people that.
I didn't have to. You did. I just agreed with you.
Thank you, Aries. Okay, you could be. I don't know how many wires I have now at this point, honestly. I collected a little too many. Also, Moon's mad that he's my wife, so I would like everyone to constantly remind him, actually, for about one day.
Let him know he's the bottom wife.
He is, like, he doesn't have to bottom, but he, like, was the newest wife. He can't just be in charge. That's not how it works. There's a hierarchy.
Yeah, no, fuck that. He gets to be the bottom.
Actually, I'm the trunk of that Christmas tree.
Y'all want to see my breakfast tray?
Yes. Ooh.
It's Rick and Morty.
Hell yeah, I haven't seen the show really, but I have heard it's good.
I'd like to remind everybody to drink their water.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, mind your business.
No.
You worry about yourself.
I have drank a gallon of water today, so...
You had a gallon of water today?
I did.
Let me show you what my son bought to try to get me to drink water. He's trying to bribe me. He bought me.
Oh, that's bougie. I would drink water for a Brita. Are you kidding me?
Man, I think I was born with a form of rabies because I do not do water.
Literally, oh, I saw this post the other day. I'm gonna send it to you, but it was like literally everything I've ever felt my entire life. But why do I gotta drink water just to like dispose of it? Like, what do I need that much water in my body for? I had 70%. Why couldn't we have just kept that 70%?
Because you use it.
Well, why can't I stop? We should have evolved past this point.
Period.
Hey, what's up, Blue?
Oh, Blue's here? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Get
see a
your
thingy.
butt in this box.
Hey, Blue!
Hi, buddy.
Morning.
How you doing?
Okay, I
Yeah.
think.
You a sleepy Blue today?
Just woke up.
Ah. Well, today's conversation is about engagement, so it'll be real easy on the emotions.
Okay.
Hey, Loon.
Yeah, what's up?
See my stickers? That's a roll of
Yes.
toilet paper with a booty.
I'm trying to find one because I literally have a screenshot of like that, but from a store. Because there was a poster with it. Like,
Corn with the booty. All of these have booties.
It's-
You just can't see all of them.
can I have the candy corn?
I love that ice cream sticker. You said they were stickers?
Yeah, they're stickers. I got them at Five Below like 2 years ago.
Oh, they're cute.
They all have little butts.
Oh, by the way, good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Blue. How you doing?
Okay, I just gotta say sorry I haven't engaged much lately.
Oh,
Did you
you're
go to
good.
Puerto
I'm
Rico?
just assuming it was live.
Did you get to go to Puerto Rico?
5 days next Saturday.
Oh, cool.
And I remember I have to send pictures.
You don't have to do anything, but I just want to make sure that you're able to go out.
No, I have to because I made a promise, and one thing that I have that I take very seriously is my word.
Fair enough.
As you should, because I will literally have to tear off my skin and fly away if you don't send me pictures.
And I don't want to see that happen to Lund.
I'll record it if you don't, just so you have to see it. So
That is emotional blackmail.
no.
Okay. Ugh.
It'd be cold.
Yeah, it's very cold. Very, very, very cold.
I don't know, because I've got my little heater dog laying with me.
If you were a wombat, who would you live in? Wild.
Thank God I'm not a wombat. That's
Is Mother Nature the correct answer?
Actually, the closest billionaire should be the one you want to worm your way into. This is assuming you will be eating your way to your new home.
I'm sorry.
Ugh. So you could say you're a starfish. That sounds uncomfortable. Oh, you know what? Do I want to do the engagement episode or do I want to do the petty arguments episode? I have too many scripts.
Yes.
Too many fucking scripts to fucking do. Ugh.
I'm just gonna be a little bit, but I say yes.
Okay. Could do that. Could do that.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Creeper.
Hey, good. How are you?
Missed your beautiful face, for one. But I'm doing good.
Oh, thanks. Glad to hear you're good.
Thank you, thank you.
That
What do you
is a
think of the
beautiful
stick?
I'll be back.
Okay.
Save me a spot, but I'll be
Absolutely.
Alright, lots of love, Blue. Actually, that was a trick question. That is actually a wombat.
I see that. Okay.
What is
Also,
your favorite part of the wombat? Oh, my bad, hold on.
Also, drink your water.
Hydrate, hippies.
Yeah.
No.
This is bullying, I swear.
Can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, I feel like especially Jesus Buddha juice is an exception because if you can walk on water, do you even have to drink it?
Yeah.
Apparently, I do not.
You totally have to drink it.
You can just
walk on water.
ingest it through osmosis.
Yeah, that means that you're too light to sink in water, which means you don't have enough of a water content. So you should definitely drink water.
No, I like the osmosis idea. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start training my body to do osmosis from the atmosphere so I don't have to drink water.
You let me know how that works
I
out for
pray
you.
about it, and the need is no longer there. It's filled.
Thank you, but no prayers, please. Not from the Lord themselves.
But our well endowed Lord and Savior.
Y'all. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to comment, my bad.
Our savior in truth.
Nobody answered my question, by the way.
What'd you say?
If 6:30?
If 6:30?
Yeah, no, you gotta scroll up. It's not funny if you don't read it, I'm not gonna lie.
If you were a wombat?
No, the one after that. After Aries said that they'd be a starfish.
I didn't see anything.
The only thing I see is hey hey with hearts.
Oh, actually, okay, I commented right after Aries said I'd probably live on the rock. I said if 6:30 is 6:30, then why is it 1:15? I'm all alone and I need you now. Fucking got him.
You are a troll of the highest caliber.
I'm
Yay.
actually surprised I remembered that. I haven't listened to country music in years.
Literally, I'm not even gonna lie. I was gonna like make a number joke, and then I thought of that. It popped into my brain, and I was like, "Well, now everyone else has to hear it."
I mean, I did hear that 7, 8, 9.
He wishes.
But
Right.
oh, Spicy's here. Spicy is never popping in. Hey, how you doing? It is nice to see you. It's been a minute.
Good morning, if you're in that time zone, everybody.
Yep, we are West Coast morning.
Wow. Yeah. Good morning to you.
Rise and shine.
5:45.
Love the image.
Ooh,
Background.
you know what, Aries? You get to be the big box.
Ooh,
That's pretty.
beautiful.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Look at
Oh,
that.
that's the one.
Thanks for joining us for the sunrise.
Oh, yeah. This is what gradients wish they were.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
This
they do.
reminds me of California.
It is.
Okay.
This
That
reminds me,
makes
of,
sense.
West Coast morning if
This reminds me of
Earth
this.
is flat.
reminds me of the sky.
Right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's probably smog, but it's beautiful.
Real quick, everybody, before we continue on, I would just like to remind you to please engage with the live.
Oh,
If you
yes.
could tap to like, or drop some comments, or share it to your friends who you think might want to be a part of something like this, super would appreciate it.
So now that I got more folks in here, I have a few scripts that I want to do for the episode today, but I'm having a hard time deciding. So should I do the episode about why engaging in content with your collaborators is a good thing? I will do an episode about why arguing over nothing is fucking stupid. Should I do an episode about the legitimate damage caused by folks who join mutual aid efforts and then bail out? Should I do an episode about why people are stupid, respectfully? Should I do an episode about elitism? Should I do an episode about loss and resilience? I got a ton of fucking scripts ready to go. I'm having a hard time figuring out which one I want to do. I mean, Loon, if you want to put together a poll, you have the ability to do that.
I can't even figure out how to pin comments. I'm not gonna lie.
Can I give you my opinion on your topics?
Absolutely.
I really like the one you said about the pointlessness of certain arguments, right? Certain debates, and I'm very into like improving debate. Like, how can we make our discussions more fruitful? Like talking about underlying issues rather than getting caught up in the weeds.
Yeah.
And there's so many things like that, right? People talking past each other, people, one person's, talking past is a good way of putting it, if everybody knows what that means, right? I see that on so many of these lives. And then the question of being like an honest broker, a good faith discusser, that's huge, right? So if trolling is detected, right, or ad hominem attacks start, right, it's great if a host gets involved at that point and separates the boxers and says, okay, you just hit below the belt.
Yeah.
let's not do that because that's not helpful, all that.
Like 6 times last night, I was in other people's lives, and they were having what should have been a healthy conversation, but they just kept arguing over each other. And I had to step in, not even like being the host or anything. I had to step in and just be like, all right, now, ladies. It's a room full of men, by the way. I was like, now, ladies, you're all pretty. Can we just like let each other speak, please?
And it's hard because a lot of people have a lot of rage. A lot of people come here with their own, burdens that they're carrying, and then they're using this for different like therapeutic reasons. I myself am guilty of this. So the host job is super difficult, and there's no training. So, like, you could even do it as a host training tips. Do's and don'ts of hosting, right? A debate.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. Thank you for that. I've been kind of like running low on ideas for episodes. I've got like 180 different fucking episode scripts, and I've recycled a couple of them just based off of like what the energy of the app is at the time. But I haven't done one as an education on how to actually hold fucking debates.
All I have is ideas, no follow through. So there you go.
You want to fucking spitball some at me? Like my entire platform is built around raising basic human decency. You know what I mean? So if you got
Absolutely.
ideas on episodes that I can put together, 'cause I'm fairly knowledgeable, and what I don't know, I will definitely crack out on researching.
Mm-hmm. So I really like improving debates, discussions. I really like getting to the underlying issues, right? So mediation training that I took, it was like a 20-hour course, right? Was all about getting away from positions and getting to the underlying issues, right? Bringing them up, making sure the other side hears at least your underlying concerns, right? And like I do a live on AB, and my goal is to get everybody, whether they're on the pro-life or pro-choice side, to acknowledge not common ground, but the thing we ought to be arguing about, right? So a lot of people argue about the soul, and I just don't have much patience for that, right? That you can go to a different live for that, right? Some people argue about where life starts, and I think that's a mistake because the definition of life is so, like dealer's choice. The definition of when a conceptus, that's the technical term for the zygote through the born baby, the time that is viable outside of the womb will change over time as we get better and better with science. So all the things we discuss and argue about are, in my opinion, not the right things to be talking about. Like they're just going to lead to, shouting. And so, I suggest my own criterion for like what we should be discussing. And so far, so good. Everybody has agreed with me. But I think that is, I haven't done a lot of these lives yet, so I'm sure they're going to come for me. Both sides will come for me. Anyway, that's what I like to do.
Real quick,
Fuck yeah.
could you tell me how to set up the poll so I can get that started?
So you would go to the poll option, which would be in share, I believe, or more. Here, there's gift voting, and then you'd hit custom instead of gift vote, and then you can set up the questions, set up the criteria for answering, such and such, and then do it. It lets you
Okay, bet. I think I found it. Alright, I guess send me the options or read them out.
yeah. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with the pointless argument episode for today, but go ahead and set it up, and I'll read those off here in just a second.
Yeah, some people don't like you to tell them what to be thinking or saying or arguing about, right? So that's a tricky line. So one of the things, you know, how it's good to say I statements rather than you statements when you're arguing or discussing with someone, like a someone you care about, right? Like a relationship. I think there's probably some strategy around how to tell people, you know, what is a good way to argue and what's not. Like, you know, like one thing I like is what is it in evolutionary talk we say what do we say that something is oh god, the languages, I think my coffee hasn't kicked in, but there's like, you know, sort of like beneficial, you know, adaptive versus maladaptive. Thank you for letting me get to it. So maladaptive and adaptive are great non-judgmental or less judgmental terms for like how people respond to conflict, right? That was maladaptive. You know, that this addiction you fell into was maladaptive, that kind of thing, rather than saying it was sinful or bad. And and so probably there's good language for how to tell people, you know, what is a waste of time and what's not a waste of time, because they might say, well, it might be a waste of time, but I need to say it. It's my thing, right? Get off my back, right? And so there's probably like a maladaptive sort of term for like wasting your time and everybody else's time. I'm not sure.
So like I spent most of my life in and out of therapy, and while I am not a therapist myself, I've picked up quite a few things over the years, and I host mental health lives at times, and I focus a lot on like internal care and whatnot, but I also put a lot of focus into like how we should be treating each other, whether that's on a personal level or like an in passing kind of situation. And I bring up topics like using I statements, like I feel statements and stuff, instead of, you know, you statements, because, well, you already know.
Yeah, what do you think about the golden rule, right? Just bringing that in as a host, right? When somebody starts again doing any of these tactics that we don't like, stop and say, you know, how do you feel about this tactic you just used, right? Being used against you. Are you good with it, right? Like, do you want, you know, you called a name? Do you want to be name called? You asked us to believe you without a citation. How do you feel about us doing that to you? You know, the other side doing that to you. Like, and then if they say, well, I'm fine with it, then maybe you back off, right? And then the other person knows, oh, I get to do this too. Or if they say, oh, actually, I'm sorry, you're right. I don't want to just be asked to trust me, bro, right? So I won't make you trust me, bro, right? Like maybe they just need a breath where they can realize that, you know, they want others to do unto them, kind of a thing. I don't know, just spitballing.
Honestly, it's not a terrible idea. Somebody in the comments, Punky, just said that men talking about emotions is goated. So one thing that I've had a really hard time with when it comes to men, specifically cisgendered men, is that when you start bringing up the conversations about emotions and whatnot, they have a tendency to be like trained to defend themselves when they
My
start
God,
feeling.
this is such an issue for me. like when you say, men commit violence, right? Men are the violent ones or something, right? Then you'll inevitably, a man in the room or two will take it so personally. Their ego requires them to speak up and say, not me, not all men, right? And it's just such a sign of like a red flag of vulnerability and like you know what I mean? Like, why are you so desperate for validation that when men or humanity, for that sake, right, for that matter, is impugned, you must defend yourself? Well, not me, right? Humans may be this way, but not me. It's like, why is this so important to you, man? Right? Like, what happened to you? And so it does feel like it'll either turn into a therapy session, and that's toxic, right?
Absolutely.
It's like a playground behavior, Like whenever you're the kid on the playground who's like trying to be nice and everything, there's always that little pack of boys who's gonna come and kick your sandcastle. You're kind of like just trained to be like, yeah, I'm strong.
That's right.
I don't need
That's
to
right.
be weak or be
So-
like this and that.
So we my friend group that I on here, like the main friend group that I share the most with, right? There was a guy who was super toxic around other men, but then in private he would be quite sensitive and nice, reportedly, right? Vulnerable, kind to his kids, right? And it was just fascinating how difficult it was for him to not be like always insulting, always one-upping. And I mean, I just felt like he has to be carrying around a lot of this training, a lot of pain around you don't get to have feelings, right? Real men, blah, 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 right? A lot of toxic masculinity. And of course he would never admit such a thing, right? The last person to admit that toxic masculinity is real is someone who's under the boot of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a cult mentality, kind of.
But I definitely feel like their pain is real, right? Like denying the pain. Like one thing that I like to pick on is like the problem of the lonely male, right? In this country, in the world, it's growing. It's we can dismiss them and say, well, they're in a spiral, right? They want a woman or women. Women find them appalling. Their response is to become more hateful and appalling, right? So let's just write them off. And the problem is, they have the pew-pews. They have the hate. They are motivated. They feel like there's nothing to lose. So I just think it's a toxic problem that we need to deal with as a culture, right? Even if we don't respect or whatever them, right? If you can't manage any compassion for them, at least consider them like a health risk to all of us, right? Like take the problem seriously, please, and don't just be satisfied that we're not like them or I'm not like them or whatever, right?
Like if you're in a kingdom and you start banishing people, eventually there's going to be enough people banished to make their own kingdom based on their hatred for the kingdom that banished them. You got to reform the prisoners instead of just throwing them away and being like, you're evil, you'll always be evil. And then like that's kind of what they start to believe themselves as, like
absolutely. Oh, if you're going to call me this, I might as well be this, right?
Yeah, it's like a I'm better than you, but I also hate myself. So it's like I'm just gonna be mean because it feels good in the moment, but it doesn't give me the love and the attachment that I was put here to spread and give. Like, that's like how we survived as people, is that we came together,
Right. There's a large movement. I think I'm part of it, actually, which is that like most men don't deserve, to be in relationships, right? But think about how toxic that is for the society, right?
Yeah.
They're both true. I mean, men are making themselves a useless commodity, not worth anything to anyone by the way they behave and the way they are developing online, right? Radicalizing, spiraling, but that may be true that they're not actually valuable to anyone. But oh my God, right? This is like the problem of humans becoming valueless in an automated society, right? Mm-hmm. This is a real problem, right? You can say, well, because the worker cannot compete, the worker deserves nothing. But how cold and horrible is that, right? We're not going to write off all the workers just because, in fact, they're no longer needed. We're
Yes.
going to hopefully have UBI or something, and we need to do we need to do the same thing for men. I joke about this, but it's also true, because everything, when I joke, it's always, there's some truth that it's usually horrible plus true equals funny. And this one is perhaps the solution for all these, I don't want to say incels, right? But all the men who are lonely and unhappy, right? Let's not name call, right? Let's not name call, but lonely and unhappy men who blame women for their, blah, blah, blah. They just need a good robot, right? They just need someone they can abuse,
Yeah.
someone they can objectify. They can call them a bitch and slap them, right?
I don't know, because
It's
the
true.
robot's gonna get boring. It's like you can
It's
only,
horrible,
you
right?
can only put your fantasies onto something that isn't
But
real. For so
exactly, but this is a as far as I'm concerned, this is a cry for help on my part, that I wouldn't even go there, right? That's such a horrible solution to a human problem.
It's just like logical when you think about it.
I know, but it's so horrible, right? We have a saying. I used to be in IT. I'm retired now, but the saying was, a technical solution to a management problem is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a technical solution to a management problem, right? They can't emotionally manage. They can't manage their emotions, and so, hey, let's give them a sex robot. And it's
Honestly, I think our biggest problem with men is definitely the culture, and it has to do with two other things: the right wing and capitalism as a whole. Because we are literally bred to be told that we have to provide value and fight tooth and limb for everything we own at all times, and it could just be ripped away, and that's okay. While these people who hoard wealth, billions of dollars, they look down on us like little ants, and they get to dictate our entire reality, like the media, whatever websites you use, or whatever things you buy, like anything that you own has been made by these rich people, and it's like your intrinsic wealth is just based on how much you can scrap for yourself, and you just lose yourself in the hatred, because the hatred is powerful, man. That's why the dark side has some of the most powerful people, but they're lost, they're lost. They don't have any sense of real love for each other or community. They're just fighting for the dark. It's it's sad. It's hard to get people out of there because they're in the pit.
My big take on Trump and why he's been successful. I don't like to focus on his personality, although that's a compelling explanation. I really like to focus on the very real and very serious despair, right? That is a toxic combination of being fed up with mealy-mouthed politicians. Sure, we all are, but then also the economic despair that really we all are responsible for. We let it happen. We let the working person feel disenfranchised, right? You can't work 8 hours and support a family. You might not be able to work 8 hours and support yourself. And so somebody comes along and says, "I'm your savior." I mean, who's not desperate, right? There's so many people who think, and of course there's other issues, right? Like the shrinking white population, right? There's so many, but I just feel like we need to deal, just like with the toxic spiral of men, we need to deal with the economic problem. And I think billionaires, right, vacuuming up all the resources, right? They're eating our spiral that we may not be able to stop, right? Because are the billionaires going to let us put an end to billionaires, right?
Not without a fight, not without a genuine war. There's no way that these people who literally are in the highest pinnacle of society, it basically control the Illuminati. And it's not even these people who are billionaires are the only billionaires. Bill Gates and Elon are not the richest people in the world. Elon said himself, he is not like these world leaders that could just march an army anywhere and just take over. These are the people who want the fame and who America has given the fame to. as these like golden boys of capitalism, because America is just this proprietor of capitalism, and that's why socialism and communism has never worked. Communism is hard, okay, because communism is so like far away from like anything. I feel like you kind of need money to like have any sort of transaction that's like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like that's why people in Norway and Finland are the happiest, because they have all these social programs and there's no poor people there. There's no people starving on the street.
Panel, I would like to remind you that if we are talking about hot button issues or you're saying words that are potentially not TikTok friendly, please drop F1 in the chat.
What does that mean, F1?
Type in an F and then just a 1 after. A couple people have already done it, but it just helps with the alg stuff.
Oh, it messes with the algorithm?
Don't say the word, I wouldn't recommend, but yeah, alg stuff is pretty much just what it helps with.
Okay, no more
Not a big deal,
buzzwords.
just reminding you.
Yeah, we generally try to stay away from buzzwords over here.
Yeah, and it kind of like, it's like the propaganda mind takes over, you know? But I just feel like people shouldn't be starving, you know? Like, there's no way that society is going to survive if we just follow along with this dude who's in charge and let him do whatever he wants. That's it.
Really quick, if I can get everybody to go ahead and do some taps and shares. Also, in case you were unaware, if you just hold your finger down on these here statues in the background, it'll bring up a list of all your followers, and you can just share rapidly down that list with folks. We're gonna have a conversation about how petty debate keeps us distracted from real conversation that matters.
Yes. Dude, name calling and like just yelling and all that, it just doesn't like solve anything, you know? It just makes people feel like better about themselves, you know?
It's a self-aggrandizing way of trying to be right by being loud, and we're supposed to put that stuff down when we're 5.
Yeah, dude. Like, you're not gonna, like, if your mom let you have a temper tantrum, then like, bro, it's not gonna help you. You're not gonna get.
But yeah, I'll get the episode started when we hit 10,000 likes. 10,000 likes will boost you out to the algorithm, and 20,000 will boost you out to the national algorithm, and then I think 30,000 will boost you out to the international algorithms. If y'all just want to tap it up, I'll get the episode started at 10. And for those of you who are new to the discussions, I usually start off with a summarizing monologue really quick, and then I'll get to some questions, fill in some spaces with some more information. Basically, kind of, I like to hold educational discussions where everyone takes turns answering. We give each other the space to answer. There's no such thing as a wrong answer unless you're being an absolute shithole. Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion for this live?
Please.
So, you know, brainstorming, they say, is like the worst way to make decisions, because the first thought that people have is probably not the well-researched, well thought through thought. However, in the case of this topic, which is, you know, productive versus unproductive discussions, right? I think people's first thought is very valuable, because what you can do is you can say, all right, people in the chat, people on the panel, please tell me, you know, your top 1 to 3 most, you know, unproductive, the things that you've seen that are unproductive in discussions, right? Like name calling, like, you know, you'll get to those pretty quickly. And then also productive, like what is it that you've seen as, because you know, let's crowdsource this. All of you have been in a lot of lives, and what do you think are the productive strategies that you've seen people actually use, right? Not just the, like, you know, like making I statements is beautiful, but of course, if you never see it, right, then it's less helpful, right? So let's be realistic, right? What are things that you've seen result in productive discussions? And then this is, I think productive versus unproductive might be the adaptive versus maladaptive language I was looking for, right? Because I think everybody wants productive discussion. At least they'll say they do, right? They might be on here to troll, they might be on here to have a fight, but when you ask them what's a productive strategy, right, for a debate, they'll say, they won't say, oh, it's owning the other side, right? Like they'll see drinking their tears. They're not going to say that probably unless they really are trolling at the moment.
Yeah. I generally like to ask people, questions like, a belief about something on the topic that they've had, or what they were taught about something on the topic, or experiences that they've had,
That's great.
or negative
That's
about
great.
said topic.
That's great. That's great. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that about the numbers, right? That this is just a numbers game to some degree, in terms of right, like it takes it takes money to make money. Some people are famous for being famous, and your live will be successful if your live is successful, right?
Yeah.
the taps.
I had an episode a while back about how the only actual currency we have as a species is our time and our attention. That's why we call it currency, right? And companies, corporations, influencers, politicians, they all prioritize monopolizing our attention and our time. And we can take that back by utilizing it appropriately. Like, I've got an episode built up talking about why it's important to engage with your comrades, with their social media postings and stuff like that, why it's important to engage with them in real life. The conversation we're going to have today about petty fucking arguments, and I'm going to put together one about healthy debates. Why what?
Sorry, I was responding to why did the blue herring cross the road? Or when does the blue herring cross the road? I guess it's a riddle or a joke. I'm interested. I bought in.
Be careful.
Right.
Might be a trick.
It's a trap.
It's a tarp. Oh my god.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Joe. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Morning.
All right.
Did you draw that in the background? That's
Dude, you
dope,
made
dude.
that? I was gonna ask about that. That shit is so cool.
Let me show you a couple more. Hold on.
Like, what is that? Are those like some like primordial aliens?
Nah, they're just statues.
Nice.
It's lovely. Love it.
Nice. The cats. I love cats.
Me too.
Were you a cat on Oblivion? Did you ever play that? Like any of the Skyrim games?
Dude, that's like
That was
definitely on my wish list. If I ever got a PC, like I know they released a new Oblivion.
I played a catfolk character in a Pathfinder game.
Nice.
They get some awesome like biological. They can have claws as weapons. They can have night vision. They can have all kinds of great things. You have to choose. You have to choose though.
In games, I generally won't play a cat character because, to be perfectly honest, when I look in a mirror and I see a human standing there, it frightens me every time because that's not how I see myself. So when I play video games, I play characters that I don't recognize myself in, and that's usually humans.
That's funny.
This is from my Three-Headed Beast episode. I'm sure you can kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The mask in the middle is interesting.
And one of my favorite episodes I like to bring back once in a while.
It's cracked.
I like that. That's nice.
Cats. They're so cool.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like a
beautiful.
mood.
I love the way you do the fabric. That is,
Yeah, dude.
that's given me, you know, some of the great, you know, the artists that really explored fabric, right? Got into it. Like they were obviously a student of the folds of fabric, and so, and you are as well.
Ridiculous, honestly.
Well, so the cool thing is like I
It
do all of
is.
my art. I do all of my art with a stylus and a tablet, and I can do all kinds of cool shit in layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, layers are
You should draw a llama.
are the thing, right? Like, oh my God. I do Photoshop, and I'm not an artist, so I love working. I'm a crafts person, if anything, and I love layers to, you know, the heavens. It's so freeing, right? Like you can do so much with layers.
Yeah.
Ugh, right? Changing the opacity and changing how they impact each other, right? Um, and isolating parts and of layers, and you know, oh my God, it's so powerful. Just the layers part, and then all the effects, you know, combined with layers.
Yeah, it's so cool what you can create on the computers. I feel like
Oh,
I take it for
love that.
granted a lot, but it's just like an amazing tool.
Yeah. You can take deep dives into Photoshop, right? It's true of Excel. It's true of a lot of things, but I really, really love. Yeah, I love both of those apps, or Sheets, right? Even Sheets is really good
Yeah.
if you're into organizing information. Oh, look at that! Look at that purple. I want that outfit. Oh my goodness,
Like a sage, bro.
dude, you need to sell that outfit. You know, get that made by like American, well-paid craftspeople.
Facts.
really
Or someone who
funny.
just made a living
It's a
wage.
pipe. It's a pipe dream, but still.
What's really funny is that I actually had that outfit for a long time.
Oh my goodness,
That's so sick.
I want
Like,
those pants.
dude, if these cat people were real, like they'd be so cool. I guarantee it.
That reminds me of George Costanza. Remember, he was all like, "I want to be draped in velvet." that
Ooh, the
was
anarchist.
his thing. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that!
So
Look at that!
cool.
Look at that! The front part of that face. What do we call that? The muzzle. It's so great.
Yeah, the muzzle.
So great.
These guys definitely can like see ghosts and like summon spirits.
Very expressive. Thank you for
Yeah,
showing
when
your
I-
art.
For interviewing my friend Jetty, who runs the who founded the Barefoot Defenders in Eugene, Oregon.
That's awesome.
Wow. I've heard about these, the barefooters.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
Interesting how she's looking into the, you know, she's like unfocused, right? She's like thinking
yep.
In her calculated time.
like a visionary.
I mean, if you get a chance to visit my YouTube, which just like everywhere else on the internet or financially, I am at Sludge Knuckle. If you find the YouTube, it's labeled interviewing Jetty. You should give it a listen. She's an amazing human being.
Can I screenshot this? Oh, sorry. Let me just type it in the chat. I don't want to screenshot your art. So Barefoot Defenders, Jenny.
Jetty,
I don't want
Why?
Jetty. I don't want to screenshot your art. Here we go. Jerry, come on. Maybe because I was saying, thank you. That's great. That's awesome. Wow.
Damn.
Look at that. I love black and red together, and that is so dynamic.
That's crazy.
Do you sell that?
I've been trying to sell my art for fucking ever, and I used to be able to sell it off pretty easy because people had money to be able to buy art, but now
Well,
people can barely afford to buy
You know,
eggs.
I happen to have a stack of ones, you know, that's very tall, and it's for that thing.
For this thing, I'll sell you the fucking the non episode version.
It was waiting for that. This is my stack of ones. But yeah,
For some change.
do you have a site like to sell for your art? Like the
Yeah,
original,
I've got a Redbubble.
originals?
I've got a Redbubble. I've got a Printify. I'm working on trying to find a fucking online gallery that'll like actually display my stuff without like charging me a fucking stupid amount of money for it.
Right. No commissions to
Yeah.
others. But I mean, I would want the original if you're willing to sell it, right? That's
So
what
I
I.
do, like I said, I do all of my stuff on tablet with a stylus, and I
So
will
there's
sell
no.
you the OG copy of it and delete everything from my own stores.
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. Yeah,
Like
that's
if
hard, isn't it? I hadn't thought about that.
I don't put everything that I make into the Redbubble or the Printify. I only put
So
certain things there, specifically things that are like movement based.
so
Um,
so I've never before had any desire for an NFT, right? I think NFTs are a scam, but right, it does occur to me now that digital art, right, proper digital art like this, right, can't be sold. The original can't be sold properly, right? Like you said, you have to like count on it being deleted elsewhere. It's like it's so hard, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
And what about what? How do you feel about turning this or something like this, right, into an NFT, such that yes, this art does exist in the world. There's no physical medium, right? You can't hang it up, but you can have the rights to that art, right? Like proper art, not just like somebody, using AI to generate a bunch of like
Or like
horse
someone
faces or
lifting.
whatever.
Yeah,
So that's the
it's
thing.
totally different
That,
when it's like
that's the
a
thing. I can have my art printed on a canvas, proper
Sure,
canvas
sure.
style, and then delete it from like
Right, right.
all of my memory banks,
Right.
and have it printed out and shipped
That's
to a
so
person.
pretty. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I have a couple that I can't show anybody because I don't have them anymore because that's how I sold them.
Right, right, right. Well, that's the thing. But if it's an NFT, right? Again, I hate to use the word NFT. It's so charged. But what I'm thinking of, let's abstract it away. If there were an right unique instance of art, just like the Mona Lisa is real, right? And people shouldn't really try to make money selling it, right? Or I don't know if the Mona Lisa is a good example. It might be in the public domain by now, but you know what I mean. There's art that's real, and in the sense of being physical, and in the sense of the rights are owned by someone, right? And I want that for digital art, right? I want you to be able to charge like what a canvas artist would charge for your digital art, right? Like you shouldn't be penalized for the fact that the medium is electronic. On the other hand, how can people own? Like I wanted to own your original because my feeling is, yeah, I can buy prints of everything, but I want to invest in the artist. And so if I buy the original, whatever that means, then when the artist is finally recognized for what they deserve, I'll have this more valuable thing, right? Not it'll always be valuable to me, but it's cool that it like grows in value on my wall or whatever, right? In my possession. That's as an investment, right? And so that would also justify spending more money, right? Like I'm not going to spend $1,000 on, for example, on one print out of an infinite number of prints, right?
Yeah.
Even if I like it, right? Do I like it that much? But if it could grow in value because of something, right? Like the physicality
It being the only one of its
yeah,
kind.
or because I have the rights, and so the rights I think are meaningful in this world, hopefully, still, even though AI is slurping up all the art and right, I'd like to think the rights are valuable, and so that's why the
art will
concept
never
is
ever
interesting.
lose unless AI totally beats us. Like fuck AI.
I know.
I agree.
I think it's going to beat us, but
NFTs have been destroyed the whole reputation by these like libertarian grifters online who just use it as a means to it, and like Logan Paul like spending millions of people and just
I think it was an elaborate money laundering operation, but I
oh
don't.
yeah, that
but
too, yeah.
because I couldn't figure it out otherwise, right? Like
Doesn't make
why,
sense.
why was this suddenly a thing, and then,
Like a meme coin.
and such a big thing? Exactly. I was very
It's the same
suspicious.
thing. People will use any sort of beautiful thing that is intended to bring meaning and use and ruin it and make it become this big controversial stupid thing that rich people will then monopolize on. It's just like their way of controlling how people think. You know?
Right.
Just real quick, looks like we're a little over 10K. Are we gonna start soon, or is it gonna be another few minutes?
I just looked out the front window and I see something that's kind of concerning me, so I think I'm gonna walk over there really quick to go check it out. But if y'all just keep chatting it up real quick, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. I'll be right there. Give me 2
Okay,
seconds.
be careful in the real world.
But it looks like somebody hit a dog or something. I'm gonna go check.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Shit, man.
Yeah, give me just a moment. I'll be right back. And when I get back, please explain to me what an NFT is, because I keep my head in the sand about most electronic shit.
Yeah, sure thing. So Spicy, are you like a regular here?
I have been in Sludge Knuckles lives before, but mostly in the chat. I prefer the chat generally
Yeah.
because I can be a loudmouth, say what I want, and not feel like I'm taking up too much space. I don't have to compete with other people. If people don't see what I say, at least I got to get it out of my system, right? So I just don't. I don't like being in a box very much. I much prefer the chat. But
Especially
yeah,
big
go ahead.
strangers nowadays.
But I got invited, right? It's like when you're invited,
Yeah.
you feel like, well, okay, I guess I shouldn't say no.
And you feel like you're
I feel like a I mean, who am I to refuse an invitation to hang out with cool people, right? That seems really weird.
I mean,
My introverted side wants to do that, but to hide under a rock when I get an invite. But you know,
I'm the same way. But yeah, it definitely feels nice to feel that you're heard, and yeah, I hope you do feel that way.
I'm talking too much, so yeah.
No, you're not. Stop.
Well, too much, in my opinion, is what
Your own feeling.
one fifth or 1/6 of this of this live, and I'm talking way more than 1/6. Just
But you
numbers
have a lot
wise.
of interesting points.
Yeah, but that's like saying, what's that like saying? You know what that's saying.
No, I'm not saying anything. You're making me say something that I'm not saying.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that like each unto their need and from them based on their ability. Those are ideals, right? But when somebody just feels the need to take up all the oxygen in the room, that's not the same, right? Like coming in and monopolizing. Like, so say somebody burst in here and just talked a mean streak, because they have drama, right? There's a rule that I like, which is, take space, make space, right? Each of us in the live has some responsibility to talk and a lot of responsibility to also see if we're talking too much and take a step back. So that I feel like it's a balance thing, and I'm, currently talking way too much, based on the balance.
No, it's fine. Because like I feel like I just got here and you guys were talking, and it was nice to have kind of experience what you guys were going on about. Because I'm new, I'm brand new. I
hear you, but I mean, like, Loon is really cool, and I'd like to hear from Loon, right?
Yeah.
Ayers, I'd like to hear from all of us here, and I'm going to go a little bit more quiet for now, just so that we can hear from some others, please.
You guys are all good. I'm multitasking, so I'm not too bothered, And also, it's good to go ahead and greet the new people and kind of give them a comprehensive rundown of what we stand for here. So I don't mind, just if Aries does want to talk, make sure to bump them in as well. And Joe, we haven't heard from Joe too much today either.
Yeah, you guys make me nervous.
Turns out it was just a blanket.
Why nervous, Joe?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I think it's anxiety.
I have a lot of anxiety, so I'm with you. No pressure at all.
For sure.
I also believe in the right to pass, right? Everybody has the right to pass. And
we're glad to be here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you're here without having to say anything.
Yeah.
But also, when you're ready to talk, we are super happy to hear from you.
Hell yeah,
All right.
thank you guys.
So, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read through the opening monologue real quick, and we'll get to the discussion. Yeah. So, welcome in everybody to another episode of Interviewing Humanity. As always, I'm your host, Sludge Knuckle, and tonight we're picking a fight over absolutely nothing. That's right, nothing. Zilch, nada. We're breaking down how entire lives are lost in arguments that don't matter, on timelines, in comment sections, at dinner tables, and in the back rooms of broken systems designed to keep us fragmented and distracted. Now, before you say, but Sludge, some arguments are important, let me clarify. We're not dismissing healthy debate. We're talking about that itch in your brain that makes you quote fight strangers about the color of a dress, the best pizza topping, or whether a cartoon character is stronger than fictional cartoon character. We're talking about distraction theater, basically. We live in a time where the planet is burning, billionaires are hoarding all of the resources, rights are being stripped away, and people can't afford clean water or a place to sleep. But what trends every day? A TikTok about whether or not pineapple belongs on pizza. A 300 comment brawl over a 7-second video someone misinterpreted. We're drowning in misinformation, surveillance capitalism, and systemic rot. And meanwhile, we're screaming at each other over things that evaporate the moment we put our phones down. So, today we're going to argue. But not the way you think. We're going to dissect the anatomy of a non-argument. We'll explore the science of outrage, the economics of distraction, and the psychology of needing to be, quote, right at all costs. And we'll look at how the system feeds on division and how it profits when we're pissed at each other instead of pissed at them. And of course, as always, we're going to be joined by our ever-glorious panel of everyday citizens, people with no fancy titles, some degrees, but not really a whole lot in political sciences or psychology. Just lived experiences and open minds, most days. Some of y'all love to stir the pot, which is great. Some of y'all are exhausted by it, which is fair. And some of y'all are the pot. So grab your digital pitchfork, buckle up for the breakdowns of the battles that don't matter, and maybe, just maybe, we'll find out what does. Let's argue about nothing so that we can finally talk about something. So first things first, what even is a pointless argument? Pointless arguments are disputes that serve no productive purpose. They don't foster understanding, they don't solve problems, or bring people closer to truth. They exist to inflame, distract, and consume attention. And you've seen them, whether it's debates about dress colors, food preferences, fictional battles, or anything. You see it on social media. These arguments explode because there's no nuance, no tone, and no shared stakes. In person, they tend to fizzle out with a shrug or an awkward silence, but online, they become wars with avatars. This argument usually involves a binary, right versus wrong, good versus bad, black versus white, oversimplifying complex issues into two-sided battles. And we engage this way because there's a chemical reason for us to keep dividing into dumb fights, and it's called dopamine. Every time you get a like, a reply, or win an argument, your brain rewards you. It's like a slot machine for your self-esteem. Add the human ego, which absolutely hates to be wrong, and you've got a recipe for relentless conflict. Arguing also gives the illusion of control and validation, especially in chaotic or powerless situations. And in many cases, it's not even about the topic. It's about wanting to be heard, respected, or seen as smart. The problem is, the longer you stay in it, the less it's about connection and more about domination. So who benefits? Social media companies benefit from long, heated debates because engagement equals profit. The more time you spend arguing, the more ads they can show you. Politicians benefit when constituents are divided and distracted from policy decisions. News media benefits from pushing polarizing content that gets clicks. In the background, corporations continue their operations unchallenged, while we, the public, tear itself apart. The system isn't broken. As I continue to scream into the void, it's working exactly as it has been designed. So, my first question for the panel, and we'll start off with Joe. What's the dumbest argument you've ever gotten pulled into?
Probably, honestly, I don't know. Right now, I think the gorilla versus the 100 men argument for right now. Like, even though the men will definitely win, but
You know what? You're totally right. What about you, Spicy? What's the dumbest argument you've ever gotten pulled into?
I can't not argue. Like arguing is in my soul. It's what I was born to do. On the other hand, I've recently walked out on a couple of opportunities to argue over this issue. Folks coming in and arguing that Trump has a great integrity, right? His character is sterling, and I don't want to argue against that. I find this to be, we can't read his mind. We don't know what's in his soul or whatever. But based on behavior, you're going to come and say, okay, let me tell you the 5 reasons that he's a great person. I just this I won't discuss with people. I won't even go there now. Right? Like we're on different planets.
Yeah. What about you, Punky? What's the dumbest argument you've ever gotten pulled into?
Is there any way we can loop back around? It was kind of my
Absolutely. Aries, I know that you can't really talk right now, but if you wouldn't mind typing into the chat, what's the dumbest argument you've ever gotten pulled into? And Loon, what's the dumbest argument you've ever gotten pulled into?
Does the one I'm being pulled into in chat count? Y'all trying to upset me for real. Today is not the day. Alright? There's no way 100 men unarmed are winning against a gorilla. You will never change my mind. And I won't argue about it, actually.
Taking responsibility for someone else's cat litter? Oh my god. Yep. That's,
You know? Just get a squirrel.
And back up to Joe. So why did that argument matter to you at the time?
Because it's a mindset thing. Like, there's no way you could tell me that 100 men can't beat a gorilla. If you have the right...
Did you just mute him?
That's silence. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to be wrong, but like, it's life or unalive, I guess. Choose wisely.
Oh my god. Oh, thank you, bud. Spicy, why did the argument you got pulled into matter to you at the time?
So for me, the question of like weighing someone's soul, like are they a good person or a bad person? That is already pointless. I don't like to do that because if there is a greater being, they'll sort it out, kind of a thing. I don't believe that. I just think all we can do is talk about policies and positions and actions, and so there's already that problem, and then the absurdity of ignoring, right, all the record we have, right, and just saying, okay, but I see into his heart, right? This is like when Bush was like, I looked into the eyes of Putin and I could tell, right? It's like, oh my God, let's just talk about actions, right? Let's talk about things that are concrete that we can all see instead of having this, this debate we shouldn't even be having and taking such an absurd side. It felt like trolling to me, and arguing with a troll is right? No one can tell the difference between you and a crazy person when you argue with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Punky, I'm sorry I skipped over you. What was the dumbest argument you'd ever gotten pulled into?
You're okay. Mine is probably just how people have this cognitive dissonance about certain things, like they like to view something as being one way when it's just like when you pull up the reality of the situation, people just kind of explode on you. And I just feel like there's no point in trying to convince someone that this way of thinking is wrong. I feel like it's just kind of have to just be there for them in like a way that isn't like too much for you, I guess. I don't know.
So there's two phrases I like to use with situations like this. The first one is never enter a battle of wits with the underprepared. And the other one is never play a game of checkers with a chicken. Because they're just going to strut all over the board and kick all the pieces off, shit on the board, and claim they won.
Yeah. Should go.
Aries, are you capable of talking just yet?
Very quietly. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah, absolutely. So why did that argument matter to you at the time?
Because it wasn't my cat. It wasn't my
and
cat.
and just to follow up that question, who actually gained something from that argument?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, who actually gained something from that argument?
Neither of us. It just ended up in a breakup.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. Loon, why did that argument matter to you at the time?
It didn't, because I didn't engage. And I've had very little sleep, is the actual answer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so let's talk about the economics of outrage. Okay. First and foremost, you need to understand that outrage is monetized these days. Every time we're outraged, someone makes money. Headlines are crafted to trigger emotional responses, whether it be anger, disgust, or fear, because those emotions keep you hooked into a subject. Social media feeds are curated by algorithms designed to keep you engaged and not informed. That means that you're more likely to see something that pisses you off than something that helps you grow. Rage equals revenue, engagement equals currency. The more we engage, the richer these companies become. And this is all through manufactured controversy. A lot of the quote debates that we all see here online, they're planted. Think tanks and PR firms push wedge issues specifically designed to divide people. These topics are often amplified by bots and paid trolls to seem bigger than they actually are. You might be arguing with a real person or a scripted fucking problem. Fake controversies create real outrage, and that generates real profit and political power. We've been trained to fight about crumbs while billionaires turn around and eat an entire fucking pie. And this equation comes down to distraction equaling control, right? Outrage is not just profitable, it is strategic. Governments, corporations, and media institutions use conflict to keep people fragmented. If we're fighting each other, we're not organizing. If we're outraged about a TikTok trend, we're not protesting legislation. Distraction is the oldest control tactic in the book. Bread and circus. Those of you who've been around have heard me say this about 1.5 million times. Bread and circus, flashy debates, headlines that pull us away from real injustices. It works until we start to recognize it. So my question, I'm going to go up to Joe for this one. Have you ever noticed a quote issue trending that felt forced?
Wait. Ask that one more time.
Have you ever noticed an issue, quote unquote, that was trending that felt forced?
Yeah, like paper straws and freaking, I don't know, anything that comes out of this administration's mouth is like ridiculous to me. Paper straws. We'll say paper straws.
What do you think would happen if no one reacted to that?
Then we wouldn't be distracted to what's really going on. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Welcome in, Bright.
Hey, it's me, Janora. I just switched up my
Hey,
name.
buddy.
Hello.
Hey, since you're in, I've got a question. Have you ever noticed a quote unquote issue that was trending that felt forced?
Yeah. This is gonna sound really weird, but bear with me.
Okay.
During the Popeye chicken sandwich craze, there was a lot of like declassified stuff going on and a lot of like legislation being passed during that time. I think that the Popeye chicken sandwich craze was manufactured as a way to deter from the legislation that is harmful to the masses would not be noticed.
that's kind of the entire point of today's topic.
Yeah, it,
Um,
it sounds very, out there, but
it is right in line with bread and circus. Absolutely.
um,
And thank you very much for bringing that up because I will be addressing that a little bit here in the further in the episode. Spicy, have you ever noticed an issue trending that felt fake or forced?
I mean, the gorilla in the room here, I think, is no offense, is that we need to defeat. Is the blitz style of executive orders and outrage machine that is Trump, right? Constantly giving us something new to be inflamed about, and then and it's all manufactured, right? Like you said, it's fake. He's not really motivated. He's just trolling, and then but the outrage is real. And when we're constantly being triggered this way, right? Trigger, 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 trigger. It's just what you're saying. There's no. It's fake, but our emotions are real. We get burnt out, and we're constantly chasing the last outrage. Can you believe what he said? Oh my God, what did he say today? Oh my God, and it's not real because he's doing whatever he's really doing, and the words are there to lead us, like a shiny object from one to the other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, bud. Punky, have you ever noticed an issue trending that felt fake or forced? And let's try to say something that isn't the gorilla.
Okay, no gorillas. I guess stuff about fuck. My brain is not working right now. I get anything that has to do with anything that our current president spits out of his mouth without backing up. I feel like the news just are like vultures. Like he just poops and then the news just pulls up with 800 cameras, just breaking news. He just pooped right here, and he's already off doing something else. It's just bait and engagement, and he's just being a capitalist.
Absolutely. It is rage politics.
Yes. Yeah, the transgender mice. It's all these mice are being transgender, $1 million.
They turn the freaking frogs gay.
Yeah.
dang it, I was just gonna say that.
Absolutely. Aries, have you ever noticed an issue trending that felt fake or forced?
Pretty much any of the trending, like man versus woman's rights that I see on this app. And I see quite a bit in regards to whether or not women's rights should be a right. And they try to argument it by saying how much a man should be in the right of that. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I love that they keep trying to push that rhetoric when I have personally watched a massive evolution in cisgendered men, maybe not all of them, but a good portion of them, to an understanding that that argument, that conversation is absolute fucking bullshit and needs to be stopped rapidly and hopefully with a blunt object.
I was wondering, could I just make a quick comment?
Yeah, please.
I would like to say, I did notice that, how much I live in an echo chamber because I get on a lot of TikTok lives to be specifically inflammatory against a lot of people that don't have my same views. And it is shocking just how many people greatly dislike someone like me. I had no idea that it was so prevalent. And it's really refreshing to be in a place like this in which, maybe we don't all share the same views, but we're all here for a reason. and we all kind of know what that reason is. And the comfortability, even though like we don't quite know each other, is still very high. But like I learned about myself that I actually do like living in an echo chamber because I like talking to people that have similar views to mine, and a lot of those other people are idiots and they're not fun to talk to. That's my comment.
Well, thank you very much for your input, bud. And I just would like everyone to recognize that here, even if we have a disagreement, we can have the conversation in a civil fashion, so long as it is being done in an intellectual kind of way and not in a I'm just going to keep shitting on this checkerboard and declaring that I'm winning, because that shit don't fly here. Hi, Angel. How you doing? Loon. Question's up to you. Have you ever noticed an issue trending that felt fake or forced?
Yeah, honestly, like, I already put my example in the comments, but like, you remember when people kept making memes out of Trump saying, like, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, while he was doing, like, heinous stuff on the down low? Not even on the down low, just out in the open. But, like, that's what everyone was focused on for, like, I think it was, like, a solid good few weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Wasn't he referring to Haitian immigrants?
He was referring to Haitian immigrants, and that is something that I would like people to keep in mind, is that when you hold political power, and your platform is literally the entire nation, when you make comments or statements disparaging an entire group of people or an entire culture of people, for the sake of pushing your political agenda, that should be your clue. That should be everybody's clue. The first sign that the person standing at that podium is a fucking fascist. That's just my input.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. People in power shouldn't be, like, dividing people further, and if they are, they have a reason for it.
Absolutely.
I agree. During the first pandemic, because of Trump's rhetoric and what he was saying about Chinese people for being the cause of COVID, there were a lot of Asian-centered crimes, and my ex-wife, who is an Asian woman, was terrified to go outside because in our state there was a woman that had acid thrown on her. So like it does have a direct, very negative and very violent um cause, but also like it perpetuates so much more than that because it'll just spread like a, a wildfire. That's all I was trying to say.
Absolutely. So my next question, and I'm just going to pose this to the collective as a whole. How can y'all tell the difference between real outrage and manipulated emotions? And you guys go ahead and discuss this one.
One more time?
Yeah, how can y'all tell the difference between real outrage and manipulated emotion or manufactured controversy?
I would say
Okay.
it's kind of like crocodile tears and authentic tears. That's their difference between it is the way they output themselves before going through with the conversation. I don't know how to better explain it right now.
I would say it's a lot more simple than that. We I would say take a look at the people that, as like from what we've seen, are less caring and empathetic towards others. If those people are upset or even not upset, but the other people that do care and do fight for other people's rights are upset, then that's probably a good that's probably a good sign to like see like real outrage.
So
Probably though.
I'm having trouble with the premise of the question, but what I would react to it with is the two things. One is that there's no feeling that you have that is not valid on some level, right? And then secondly, therapists and psychiatrists talk about secondary emotions, like getting really angry in a live, and then there's like typically an underlying primary emotion, which is feeling unsafe or vulnerable or something, right? And I feel like that's more the area that I like to think about, is that we spend a lot of time in our secondary emotions, which are reactive, protective, defensive reactions, and we seldom get down to like the primary emotions, which we probably have much more common ground on, like fear, anxiety, worry, right, about ourselves, our families, and yet we're drawn into these secondary emotions of like outrage, anger, disrespecting others, right? Like they're deplorable, he's deplorable. That stuff is less good to debate, right? Because it's a symptom of the primary emotions.
That was excellent. 100% agree.
Sorry, guys. Give me just 1 second. I'm taking care of something.
I'll just gas on a little. So I think to answer your question better, sorry, I didn't really. I think if you detect yourself reacting in a secondary way, right, with outrage, with with not a real feeling, but like you're getting defensive, right? You can ask, well, why am I getting defensive? Why am I being told to feel guilty? Why am I, what is happening here? And then you can get to your primary, which is generally very valid, right? Like he scared me with his talk, right? Of I'm going to be your vengeance, or I'm going to be a dictator on day one. There's an underlying emotion, which is fear or whatever, right? Maybe it's pride. Like, okay. But that's what I want to talk to someone about, is like when he said, I'm going to be a dictator on day one, did you say you thought he was joking? Is that all that was going on for you? Or was that a secondary emotion where you had to rationalize because it's a scary thing for anyone to say, right? In America. Like that's it's a little bit like having a therapy session, and so many people on probably both sides don't want to be therapized, don't want to be analyzed, and men may not even know how they feel. I am one of those that has trouble, accessing my own emotions. So good luck with this therapy session, right?
Oh yeah, 120%. It is the and like I could go on. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people here have already heard me go on a really long rant about my displeasure in how the boys in this country and honestly globally are raised. So I won't go too much into that. But I completely agree with what you just said.
Absolutely. So let's talk about psychological warfare and how it interacts with our need to be right. Okay. First and foremost, what has been mentioned before already is cognitive dissonance and ego. Cognitive dissonance is, of course, the tension that arises when we're presented with information that contradicts with what we believe. And instead of adapting, we often reject new information and double down. It feels safer to be wrong than to admit vulnerability, right? And that's where ego comes in. Ego thrives on being right. Being wrong feels like annihilation to the ego, so we defend ourselves with arguments that often have nothing to do with the truth. And we have to address this myth of, wow, nice. We have to address this myth of objectivity. It's a common myth that facts are neutral and debates are clean, but in reality, context matters. Culture, trauma, identity, lived experience, they all color how people interpret information. What's objective to one person might be completely irrelevant to another. Debate culture often pretends that logic is separate from emotion, when in fact emotion is part of every decision that we make. And it's possible to grow through disagreement if we can approach it with curiosity. Instead of trying to win, we can try to understand. Productive conflict doesn't look like a takedown. It looks like a co-creation of understanding. It means listening not to respond, but to hear. It means asking ourselves, am I fighting to protect something real, or, as stated, just my pride? So I'll take this up to Janura. What's one belief you used to fight for that you have since changed?
Ooh. Um, and this pains me to admit, but I will be 100% candid and honest with everyone. I'm not going to um, sugarcoat it, but the way that I used to think about transness or being trans was very, very linear. And because I didn't like my worldview challenged, I did everything quote unquote scientifically. So I didn't understand why trans people were they were, because like you are what you are because of genes, because of your genetic makeup. And I was young, and as I've gone through the world, I've learned a lot more, social constructs, the way that the brain works, the way that people feel about themselves, and how imperative it is for people to be in control of their own life. I've changed that since then.
That's
It's
really good
been
to
very
hear.
rigid in my thinking.
That's really good to hear. And thank you for sharing what would be a point of contention in most other lives. I appreciate it. Joe, what about you? What's one belief you used to fight for that you have since changed?
Uh, I don't know. Skip me and come back. Hold up, I gotta do something real quick.
All right, no problem. What about you, Spicy? Oh, no worries, Angel. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Bright, thank you so much for sharing that. It's very hard in a public context to admit, anything like that. So thank you. I have I've hopefully evolved a lot on many issues. I turned on my camera because I want you to know that I care about trans issues, and I hear you and honor what you said there, Bright. Um,
Thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
no. I'm just trying to support others in this. I don't have any standing. Um, so I've had to give up so many beliefs that I fought hard for that it's hard to pick one. Like I used to believe it's so many, but I think so many. I think the one that hurts the most is I used to fight for, and die on the hill of America. Is sort of like righteous. I was brought up on WW2 and on America swinging into action, saving the world, greatest generation, freeing the conch camps, and I thought, well, there's no going downhill from here, and I think that one I've had to do the most soul searching of, but I mean, this is also whiteness, whiteness being a construct to dehumanize others, the great sins, if you don't mind the language of America, Native American, wiping out Native Americans, wiping out and enslaving black folks. I mean, really, we treated the Chinese very badly, we treated the Irish badly, but I mean, enslaving others is just, and then never really deconstructing properly. There's just so much. I'm sorry for the language. There's just so much that it's like I could do an hour on this question and all the things that I used to fight hard for that now I'm almost on the other side of, right? I don't want to demonize America or anything like that, but man, I really want to debate my younger self. I could own him so badly.
It's funny that you bring that up because just last week I held this exact episode, the origins and weaponization of whiteness.
I mean, there's so much to learn, right? I'm a believer that we as humans know a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what there is to know in the universe, and so this is like possibilianism, right? The possibilities are great. We should be humble in the face of what we don't know, and so I take that attitude when I can, right? It's very easy to feel like we are gods, like we can control the nature, and but we can't control ourselves. I mean, we got to get over ourselves, right?
Yeah. So do you know where whiteness came from?
I mean, I've heard a lot of talks about it, that it really wasn't a thing until it was created in order to other folks, right? Like it was a conscious creation
Reactionary.
of an identity, and really the folks on the right are so steeped in identity politics. Everything about what they say, if you listen for it, is identity politics, right? They seldom want to talk actual issues.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was created in the 1600s by wealthy European elites to stop the population from coming together, creating this divide between Caucasian individuals and those with black or brown skin, to keep them from rising against them. It's been a constant balancing act being played out by rich and wealthy individuals to keep poor individuals poor and fighting amongst each other. So Punky, go ahead, General.
I was gonna say, talking about the weaponization of whiteness. I don't think that we need to look any further than the story that is Emmett Till. That is all.
I would 100% agree. Absolutely. Punky, what's one belief that you used to fight for vehemently that you have since changed?
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, honestly, mostly what Spicy was talking about, like just about how when you're growing up, kind of all the people, like, or at least the guys I was hanging out with, are kind of all like very like America's the best and everyone else is worse, and all the kind of bigotry and the not caring about like LGBT people and like people of other races and all like the stereotypes, and kind of just making out America to be this benevolent nation. Like everything about what we are has been fought for. Like the people, the only reason there are unions and civil rights and women's rights and independence from the British and no slavery and all these things that we have to put millions of lives on the line for, just individually for. I feel like it's just so easy to kind of step over that and just believe that we were always so great and caring about everyone and everything, because we live in a time where like I don't know, it's hard to say here. Like I feel like we've come so far, and it's great that we've come so far. We just have to like really organize more against the billionaires, because it's just really like fucking us all over. And the only way to really stop the current path is just like to kind of come together, I guess.
I would like to just inform you, because you had brought up something. Slavery still exists.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. In prisons and in technicality, you're right. Just it's still fucking insane. Like California had that vote recently, and they said yes to it, because it was put in a way that it was like good, which is insane.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nuts. Thank you very much, bud. Aries, what's one belief you used to fight for that you have since changed?
this is something that's a little controversial. Um, so please bear with me because I understand everyone's beliefs, but I used to be a wholehearted, like full-fledged atheist, and I used to not believe that spirituality in it and of itself wasn't real at all. Like I knew people would partake and practice spirituality, but I didn't understand the depth of it until I had my own ancestors communicate with me and my own spiritual gifts awaken. Um, yeah, and that's about it.
Fantastic, and thank you
And
for sharing. I personally believe that spirituality and beliefs are a deeply personal thing, and while we may share similarities, the spiritualities may rhyme, but it is entirely deeply personal and based entirely upon one's individual interpretation of them. And thank you very much for
absolutely.
sharing. Loon, what's one belief you used to fight for that you've since changed?
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily fight for it, but I used to be a lot more accepting of talking and associating with people who had different beliefs because I thought that through contact with people who were better or doing better in kind of what they believed and how they went about things, just to put it lightly, would rub off on them, so to say. But it doesn't. You can only tell people the same things so many times, and you can only put yourself through so much to try and change someone else's opinion before you have to take a step back.
Fantastic, and thank you very much. So Janura, how do you handle being called out or corrected?
How do I handle being called out or corrected?
Yep.
Uh, I would like to believe I handle that pretty well. But with that being said, it doesn't happen very often because I'm almost never wrong.
Love that. Thank you
I
very
mean,
much,
like,
bud.
obviously, like, if I'm wrong, I would love to learn so that way I can always be right. I love being right, and the more information that I can accumulate, the more often that I'm right.
Yeah, I myself, I personally don't like to talk on subjects I'm not fully informed of. Um,
Same here.
and if I don't know something about it, I will just kind of throw myself headlong into learning about it. Joe, how do you handle being called out or corrected?
Now that I matured a little bit, I take it as like a learning experience. I used to just never want to be wrong and thought that I knew everything, but now it kind of humbled me. So I kind of take everything as opportunity to grow.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And what about you, Spicy? How do you handle being called out or corrected?
I'm sorry, real life totally distracted me. What was the question again?
How do you handle being called out or corrected?
Oh my God. Okay, this is such an exciting topic. I probably had too much coffee. So there's right. So properly called out is what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the normal kind. um, I probably don't handle it as well as I would like. Um, and I can tell you what I would strive to do. Um, when people come for me, let me give you an answer a different way. When people use ad hominem attacks, the way I get excited because they're losing, and so the competitive person in me is like blood in the water, and B, what I do is I look for the truth in their insults. So if I got called a big idiot, big dummy recently, and I was like, yeah, I take up too much space, and I know so little, right? Thank you for that. I really appreciate your feedback, right? Like I honestly meant it too, because you can frame things the way you want, and if you just decide that every criticism you ever take is like what can I learn from this criticism? What is true? I'm sure there's something true, instead of reacting with my ego. And so So that's what I strive to do with like unfair criticism, right? In quotes, is look for the fairness, right? Look for the and that by the way, it pisses people off so much if they can't get a rise out of you. And in fact, if you get excited and grateful, they just they lose it. So I recommend this approach, right? It doesn't mean you don't have an ego anymore. It just means you decide I'm gonna have fun with this insult, right? I am going to learn from it. I'm going to grow. I'm going to make a friend, right? If they're able to handle my response, then I've got a friend. If they freak out, then they were trolling, right? And so with a legit you know criticism, it's much harder actually, right? Because you know I feel guilty. So that's harder for me to be a jolly warrior about, right? If you come for me and say, "Nice privilege guy," right? Like it shuts me down. Like you're right. I'm sorry. You know, so it just shuts me down. So I think it's appropriate to be shut down. You know, under those circumstances.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, bud. Where was I? Punky, how do you handle being called out or corrected?
Well, I usually just try to take a second and kind of process it, you know, because there's no point in like getting mad about like just someone being like, "Oh, but this," and you're like, "Oh, actually, yeah, you're right," instead of being like, "You're wrong." You know, there's no like gain in that. You know, you don't really get anything from just being ignorant and living on it. You know, the better way to live is to kind of see what they're giving you and kind of be like, "Yeah, you're right." And obviously with the whole ego debate, it's hard because like ego is so intrinsically like dug into who we are as people. Like it's really hard because hubris and everyone wants to be a certain way and doesn't want to be like embarrassed, even though being wrong isn't like always embarrassing. It's just kind of how you handle it and how you're able to adapt to be right next time, you know?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, bud. Aries, how do you handle being called out or corrected?
Very similarly to how Joe handles it, by using it as a growth and development journey. Of that, well, that's for myself, but I use it definitely as a growth and development and to update what my education on the subject is. If it's something to where they're just trolling, then I just like bypass it and leave it for someone else to comment on later because I'm not.
Okay. Thank you very much. And what about you, Loon? How do you handle being called out or corrected?
I think it kind of depends, but I do kind of tend to be defensive at first. I will take time to sit on it and think on it after, but I'm not really keen on being attacked, mostly because I'm used to constant, like, nonsensical attacks as opposed to actual factual information and help and advice.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hey, Manifest, how do you handle being called out or corrected?
Oh, is that the topic?
No, the topic is petty fighting and the pointlessness of it.
Oh, called out or corrected, like legitimately, or called out or corrected in like an American sense?
No, like in a legitimate sense, like you are wrong, but you also have like pride or ego or whatever it is that makes you defend yourself or whatever. How do you handle being called out or corrected?
Oh, by now I think I've learned. I don't know. I don't generally get called out, mainly because I don't talk to a lot of people these days. Because I live here in Vietnam.
Oh, lucky. You lucky duck. And what's one belief that you used to fight for that you have since changed?
That I used to fight for. That I've since changed?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Um, I suppose when I was really young, um, I considered myself libertarian, and I thought like I mixed that up with like also the uh, the whole weird border thing, and so something that I remember it was during the first part of the Obama presidency, I think, or the end of the Bush presidency, that I was uh, I was sort of celebratory of the immigration that was going on, or the immigration policies that were going on at that time, even though they were really shitty. And by the time it got to like the kids in cages, um, I kind of re-examined that, and I was like, shit, they're putting kids in cages. I guess that's something I can remember.
I mean, that seems like a fairly reasonable enough line to kind of not be willing to cross.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you for the input, bud. So let's talk about petty fighting versus systemic fights. We have to recognize that a lot of us mistake the arena. Many of us are tricked into fighting horizontally or sideways against our peers, rather than vertically against systems of power. This is how marginalized groups are kept in a loop of infighting. We're taught to correct each other, cancel each other, gatekeep each other. Meanwhile, landlords, CEOs, corrupt officials, they operate with impunity. The system's greatest success is convincing the oppressed, or us, to fight each other. Identity politics also can be used as a double-edged sword. While representation and language matters, the system often weaponizes these debates to distract from material issues. For example, a corporation might celebrate Pride Month while exploiting workers or donating to anti-LGBTQ politicians. Social justice becomes a marketing campaign for these people, and these distractions derail real change by swapping substance for symbolism. And we have to start reclaiming the narrative. The way out is clarity. Ask, what's the real issue here? Who does this help? Where is my energy best spent? Reclaiming the narrative means telling our own stories, building across differences, and refusing to be baited into meaningless fights. It means choosing unity without uniformity and resistance without replication of oppressive tactics. So my first question in this segment for the panel, sorry, little burpee here. We'll start off with Loon. Have you ever been pulled into horizontal violence or peer policing?
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of infighting. Like, a good example is political sides. I have at points in my life when I was younger identified blue, and it's like no matter what you're arguing about, both sides are wrong. Like both sides are continuing to feed the system that continues to hurt us and blame it on like some poor dude who's been like taught to be a bad person and forced and pushed into that role and never had really any outside education or any opportunities for it. Doesn't do anything when the people who, propagate those things happening continue to stay in power and continue to get whoever they want voted in regardless of sides.
Absolutely. What about you, Aries? Have you ever been pulled into horizontal violence or peer policing?
I'm so sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Could you rephrase the question, please?
Yeah, have you ever been pulled into a situation where you felt it was necessary to either correct or argue with somebody in the same social class as you?
I want to say yes. I want to say yes. However, I am definitely drawing a blank on this question for some reason at this time. Could you come back to me? I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. What about you, Punky? You ever been pulled into a horizontal fight?
Yeah, I feel like anything remotely political is like that. You know, it's just they've done such a bang up job at making it feel like it's just this you're one or the other and you have to hate each other because you're so different and you can never get along and overthrow us billionaires who are making all your lives miserable and making you have to pay to exist. I feel like if we just come together, it'll be like so cool, but I feel like it's hard because we can't even stop hurting ourselves, you know?
Well, as stated before, I mean, you're correct. It is very difficult. I've been trying to breach this gap in society for a really long time, and the hardest part about it is getting people to realize that it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Punky. I appreciate you. Spicy, have you ever been pulled into horizontal violence or peer police?
Okay. Thank you for creating this environment. Feels safe to share here. Thank you for phrasing that question in a nice way. I don't get pulled in. I dive in. Okay. Recently, I was in the chat and I was feeling my emotions, and another older white guy was in a box and saying stuff, and I was like quoting it and saying, "Really, really," and then one of the other people who's a friend was like, "Spicy, what's going on? Are you okay?" And I just said, "Please ignore me. I'm so sorry. I'm I'm coming for my own people. You're right." He's just saying something I said like last Tuesday, and now I'm much more enlightened than that, right? So I just it's so easy, right? When you spot it, you got it. And so the worst behavior is that you can possibly imagine is something that you just overcame, right? Like the most zealous religious person is the new convert, right? And so it's just so easy to come for your own people when they're slightly less perfect than you think you are at this point, right? And I got that apparently.
Thank you for sharing, and I love how I love how you stated that you don't get pulled in, you just fucking dive headfirst. Aries, yeah. What was your answer for that one?
Yeah, every time I speak to any type of family members about like anything political or anything having to do with worldly topics, it always ends up in some kind of power play or power move in order to get the conversation to be on their side right. It can't ever be, well, we can see on common grounds and we can discuss it. It always has to end up in some way or form into a power play, a power move to be up in the conversation.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for sharing. Joe, have you ever been pulled into a horizontal fight or horizontal violence or peer policing?
My bad. Had to figure out how to get off of mute. I think anytime the political spectrum comes up and just thinking about it, we all are, they like to keep us all divided. We shouldn't be divided at all when it comes down to it. Because, like, what are we arguing for? I mean, yeah, that sucks.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that exact frame of thinking is almost verbatim what I had stated in like 7 or 8 different lives last night. Because people are like, "Oh, right's better than left, and left's better than right," and yada yada yada. I'm like, "Hey, can you feed your children?" No.
Yeah,
We're
we're
in the same
struggling
hall.
down here.
Thank you very much, bud. Janura, have you ever been pulled into peer policing, horizontal violence?
You know, um, I I was meaning to talk about this earlier because I figured that this would be a very safe group for me to talk about this with. But yeah, just earlier, maybe like a couple of hours ago, I was pulled into well, not pulled, but I was in a live, and I was voicing my opinions about the police,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept color out of it, something like that. And what I said is that I think that it is treacherous and it's not right for public servants to be subtracting citizens from the census, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone argued against me. And
Yeah, it's silly.
it made me feel crazy because like why would people that actively work for the population be doing something so dastardly? And why would that ever be okay? Whatever happened to due process, innocent until
Mm.
proven guilty? And it's like it's it it didn't make any sense to me because it made me feel like I was not even policing. It made me feel like I was trying to like hold their hand. And it's like, no, like it's kind of like, yeah, your parents shouldn't be hitting you. And then they're making excuses as to why it's okay for their parents to be hitting them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I have held many an episode about that exact fucking topic. Honestly, I'm kind of irritated because I know I'm gonna have to have that conversation again probably tomorrow.
You know, it's just so sad. Like, nah, dude, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, no.
Like, and without any impunity. That isn't like, are you joking?
Well, ever since they got rid of our ability to hold police accountable, qualified immunity just kind of got
Yeah,
stronger. And thank you
yeah.
very much
And
for
it's,
bringing that up.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You got anything else you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say, like, I'm arguing with someone in the same class as me about the amount of power that someone
Yeah.
else should have. And it's like, dude, these people are supposed to be, are allegedly supposed to be like, you know, capable of protecting us, yet they get away with all of this. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you very much, bud.
Yeah.
Manifest. Have you ever been pulled into a horizontal fight, horizontal violence, or peer policing?
Like you mean like a whole purity test kind of thing, or purity? Well, I guess your purity policing thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Uh, I do it all the time to Americans with complete self-awareness regarding exceptionalism and how docile they often are. It's sort of my, it's sort of my MAGA movement. MAGA being make America go away.
Turn up. Ooh, ooh,
Hold on,
ooh, ooh.
I gotta get you some condiments for that fucking meal you just served, bro.
Appreciate
Oh my god, I love that. Oh, I think I like that one just as much as I liked the Mexicans aren't going anywhere. I fucking love that shit. That's so good. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much, bud. Loon, what do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change?
Symbolic and material change?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think like symbolic change is unsustainable change. So like if you decide to go on a diet that's super extreme, that's symbolic change, or just doing it in hopes that something happens, that maybe you'll kind of stay on it. Kind of people who quote unquote attempt to change but don't attempt to find more knowledge, they kind of just feed off of the same opinions that get circulated in the media, don't do further research. It's just things you can't hold up, and material change is more so the things that take time to take root but maybe don't show as quickly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Aries, what do you think is the difference between symbolic and material change?
Ooh. So what first comes to mind is the fact that I would say symbolic is more of a more of a change that is. That's actually a really good question. Okay, so symbolic change. I feel like that is more of a change that could lead to, in a way, revolutionary actions, where material change would lead us back into the matrix. And that's kind of where my mind is going with that. I'm a little sleep deprived.
No, that's a great analogy. And thank you very much. Punky, what do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change?
Symbolic is when the entire system actually kind of works in a different way than it used to in regard to a certain issue, but material change is when corporations are able to latch on to a movement regarding people's lives and make profit off it, pretending that they care.
It's an interesting take on that. Thank you. Spicy.
So I've
What
been
do you think?
I've been pretty negative. I feel like I've been sucking the brightness out of the room. So I'm going to try to give you my optimistic hat on this one. So I think typically people will. I heard some interesting takes to the contrary, but I think often typically the conventional take is that symbolic change is empty and material change is real. And I feel that is a pretty harsh take. And I know that material change, real change in the world is hard and it takes time. Think again of like the therapeutic environment. You can't just walk into therapy and then like have your brain just realign, right? There are certain substances in the world that might do that for you, but talking with people doesn't do dramatic things to your brain like instantly, but it does do subtle things, right? So what happens, I think, in therapy is people have symbolic changes. They realize something, they hear something, they have an epiphany, right? And then there's a processing time that takes place where the brain copes with it, processes it, realigns. And so I think society is like this, right? Watching Will and Grace was a symbolic change, right? Oh, look, gay people, right? They're like me, right?
TV.
That was just nothing. That was sort of a nothing burger. If you think about it, it's just seeing some gay people, right? Being human. But then I think real societal change might have resulted from it as people process that, right? Material change, changes in laws, right? Legalizing gay marriage. Also outrage. People are like, no, this isn't my country. We got to do something about this. We got to outlaw those people, right? But the symbolic stuff, which is seeing it at all, hearing about it at all, right, is very powerful. Just not in the moment, right? So if you think wearing your T-shirt is an empty gesture, it's not, right? A T-shirt politics, right? People like to say is very important, because if you see a white man wearing, a black woman's face on a shirt with pride, right? That affects people, right? It's symbolic, but it actually makes them process something in their brains that is real and will maybe affect their next conversation. They might not even know that it's affecting them, but I think it does.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that input, bud. Joe, what do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change?
I have no idea how to answer this question. I would like to pass.
No problem, bud. Janura, what do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change?
I mean, I think that, to be honest, a lot of us here have been overthinking it. Symbolic ultimately means an empty promise.
Mm-hmm.
It's an empty gesture. Real change comes from something solid. I don't think that it needs to be more complicated than that.
Absolutely. Just to give a kind of an understandable representation of your point there, it's the difference between telling someone that you're going to go to therapy for your poor mental health and then versus not saying a damn thing and just going to therapy.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. Manifesting. What do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change? Manifesting? Okay. No worries. I'll come back to you in just a second. Supervillain. Hey, buddy.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change?
So let's see. Okay, symbolic was. I was looking that up just to make sure that my definition matched. So, representing something else, often an abstract idea or concept through a visible image or object, and then you said material change, so something that is actually physical, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just trying to make sure that I understand the question before I kind of jump into it. And then you're asking what the difference between them or how they can affect us differently?
What do you think the difference is between those two?
Well, one of them's an idea and one of them's material.
Well,
That's the
obviously
flat out difference.
Yeah.
But it kind of pulls back to, for my observation from it, it kind of pulls back to actions speak louder than words. Symbolic change can have an impact, but a more material change will have a bigger or greater impact. Because anybody can still say anything, because it says it represents something else. They could say whatever they want. They could say whatever we want. It's actions that will make a greater change, not just words, is what I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for pulling out the phrase that we all know very well.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words.
They do, hands down, hands down.
Any fucking two brain celled individual with a voice box can scream how they're going to make something different, but if they don't follow it up with actions, it does nothing other than get people talking about it.
Yeah, that was pretty much my entire military career. They were like, do as I say, not as I do, private. And I'm like, that's unlawful. I'm not doing it.
Absolutely.
Oh, they hated me. If there was a detention, I'd be in it.
Since I'm on you, I want to ask you, how do you think that we can keep our eyes on the actual target of making real change instead of falling back into infighting and
Community.
this horizontal fighting?
Community. That's where the baseline is. It's community. You got to travel around your area and you got to talk to people that you never met before. Because one of the biggest things that I think when it comes down to getting people together, people don't just drive around and go talk to people. That's something that we all got to start doing. Just, you got a day off and there's no protest going on or something, or you ain't got nothing going on. Just go do something. Like go, for instance, for example, one of the things that I did at the last place before I went to the shelter, I went roller skating, and we went like twice, and I met the same people. I met the first group of people the first time. They were like, we're here every weekend. And I went out there the second weekend and they brought more friends. And then we would start talking about what was going on in the world. And I just advised them to at least keep up with what's going on so that way they're well informed. And then I'd show them how to do it, or at least how to find people or the information that they need to find that they're not reporting on like the news and stuff. And keeping them plugged in, even if you're not there, that still gives them the skills and the stuff that they need to go ahead and find the information that they need to share with their friends and family.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Rotary Doc, how you doing, bud? Welcome in. So before I move on to this next and final segment, I just want to throw out to all the folks hanging out in the room. If anybody is interested in buying some of my art, I do need to sell some. I need to come up with new tires for the bus. If you'd like to make donations to the mutual aid program that I run, you can find me on any of the financials at Sludge Knuckle. Also, if you have any specific needs that can be met with mutual aid, please let me know. We can get the network together and see what we can make happen. And if you'd like to join the Discord, send me a DM and either myself or one of my mods will get you in there. Do I have a Facebook or something? I do, but I don't give that out to people. So let's talk about how to exit the loop and speak with purpose. Because as I'm sure you know, attention is power. Oh shit, I missed manifest. I'm so sorry, manifest. I'm back to you. What do you think the difference is between symbolic and material change? My bad.
It's fine if you want to go move it forward. I don't know how much time you have.
I've got time.
Okay.
That's all I've got is time. I can't move my bus right now.
Oh, okay. I guess I would say symbolic change is incremental and often realized, and material change is mechanical and can be reactionary or revolutionary. Just depends on which way the wind goes. But that's like state mechanics, right? I guess an example would be like the most recent instances that we see. That I forget his name. The stupid douche that stood up in place of the segregationist for 24 hours. The segregationist that Biden loved, and then did the filibuster to do absolutely nothing. He filibustered absolutely nothing, and accomplished that.
Okay.
Huh?
You're talking about Booker.
I think his name is Cory Booker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. That guy.
That is a perfect example of symbolism. Yeah.
Versus the senator that went to El Salvador and put his foot down about crap. Now I'm missing the name.
Abrego something.
Is it Camille? Mahmoud Camille?
Yeah.
No, he got released.
Oh,
I'm talking about
I didn't hear that. Thank God. Shit.
Emilio Abrego Garcia, I think.
The guy in El Salvador who the senator went out to get. Is his name Emilio? I thought his name was Hannibal or something.
No, it's something Abrego Garcia.
Okay.
Are we talking about the veteran that got sent over there?
No, we're talking about the guy that the lawyer apologized for accidentally. Said that the state made a mistake in deporting him, and the senator went over there and asked the guy. First, he went to, I guess, the embassy. Then he went to CCOT, and both of them turned him down. And then finally, they got the chance to speak with him.
Yeah.
Still there? Like
No,
they
he's
haven't
still
been
there.
able to get him out yet?
Yeah,
Well,
he's
the example in material change is that now he's no longer in CCOT.
Yeah.
Where'd they move him to?
A different facility.
Yeah.
Never go to a fuck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they took him to a secondary location.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much for that, bud. Rotary, welcome in.
What's up?
My question for you at the moment is, what's the difference between symbolic and material change?
Well, that's interesting, I suppose. I might say that, and actually, before I answer that, and sorry to kind of step off the topic for a second, but with the art stuff, I might totally know some people for that. So I sent you a message a second ago. I don't know if you want to get me on Discord or something. If you got pictures and stuff, I'd be more than happy to pass that around.
That would be amazing.
So, but yeah. And I guess that's something I've never really thought about a whole lot before. But if we had the attempt to define the two, looking at symbolic change, I suppose you could be talking about any number of things, whether that be, any number of abstract representations of the idea of change. Maybe that's ideological shift. Maybe that's even stuff that's portrayed through art, that type of stuff. But something that I suppose, in a certain sense, isn't quantifiable or qualifiable as being specific real-world action. And then material change would be the flip side of that, right? So something that is directly quantifiable, qualifiable as specific real-world action. And I think depending on what's going on, it's one of those could certainly lead to the other, or maybe they both happen at the same time. But either way, certainly interlinked.
I like that you brought up that aspect of it, because My my interpretation of the two is, for example, banning plastic straws versus shutting down the petroleum industry.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's
You
a
know what
good
I mean?
one. So that could even be like so maybe symbolic change could even be taking action, but not taking the correct action, or not taking a strong enough action. Maybe not taking the time to properly assess what the issue is in the first place for one reason or another. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So we're gonna get to how to exit this loop and to speak with purpose. Okay. So when you pay attention to shape, or what you pay attention to shapes your world. Your time and focus are your currencies, your time and attention, right? If you spend them on pointless arguments, you're left broke when it's time to show up for what matters. Attention is how we shape collective reality. And by choosing to disengage from performative fights, we can reclaim our ability to direct culture and energy and resistance. Conflict isn't bad, but we need tools to navigate it. Conflict literacy means knowing the difference between a disagreement and an attack, or a challenge and a violation. It's knowing when to engage and when to pause. Asking ourselves, am I being reactive or responsive? Am I defending a value, or just reacting to a trigger? And not every battle is your battle. Not every hill is worth the climb. The most effective revolutionaries are strategic with their time, their energy, and their focus. They know their values, they choose their moments, and they fight smart, not loud. Finding that hill to die on means identifying your core values and building your responses around those, not around ego or impulse. So up to Loon, what's your personal hill worth dying on?
Human rights for all. You know, food, water, shelter for everyone, regardless of your situation.
Thank you very much. Aries, what's your hill?
I was gonna say the same thing. As soon as I heard the question, it's a really good answer, Loon. Yeah, human rights for all. Because honestly, at this point in time, if we don't get human rights at this point, it's just not going to get any better. And that's frightening to think of. However, I'm not allowing it. I'm gonna allow that to fuel me rather than frighten me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Punky, what's your hill?
Hmm. Definitely agree with the last two, but I'm trying to think of something else.
I mean, it's a worthwhile hill.
I guess like the climate, you know. That's
Okay.
because we're just like totally destroying it, man.
Absolutely.
This is fucked up.
Absolutely. And thank you very much. Spicy, what's your hill?
So there's a slippery slope on this hill, but I stand and unalive on the hill of accepting decisions that I don't like, right? So if the Supreme Court decides something and I don't like it, I got to accept it. If the voters decide something that I don't like, I got to accept it. If a federal judge, I feel is corrupt or bad, I have to accept it, right? This is the great tradition in America of not picking up weapons as soon as an election doesn't go our way, right? And that's what separates us from many other countries, and it's exceptional. Some other countries are also exceptional in this way, but I think we shouldn't take for granted the civic right right action, right? And civic right action that I'm fighting for is accepting, like when the process doesn't go the way you want, but the process worked, right? Accept it, right? Of course, we want to weed out actual abuse, actual fraud, actual waste, but when it doesn't go your way, don't just say, "Well, I pick and choose who makes decisions for me." We can't do that.
Okay. Thank you for that take. Joe, what's your hill?
Human rights, man. I think everything that everybody already said is an excellent summarization of what I believe in.
Beautiful. Rotary, what's your hill?
So, yeah, my hill is presenting an argument for the utility of acting as though we believe in the fundamental goodness of being, even when maybe we don't feel that way, or even when maybe it doesn't look that way. Anytime I'm having a debate or a conversation or an argument or whatever it is with somebody else, I have three main objectives, and in this order: one, I want to learn something from that conversation. Whether that be something about somebody else's viewpoint, or maybe, I'm presented with something I wasn't familiar with, and I develop a more well-rounded picture of, the thing. Number one, I want to learn something. Number two, I want to lay out an articulated representation of my viewpoint on that matter as best I possibly can. And number three, I want to outline a fundamental argument for the utility of acting as though we believe that being itself is fundamentally good. And so maybe what that looks like in some sense is, and I guess what I'm not saying is like pretending that problems don't exist or like anything like that, but especially when it comes to stuff that we don't directly have the ability to change, maybe right now, there's a problem. Let's identify that as best as we possibly can. And once that part of the work is done, hey, there's this thing, it's a problem. Even if I can't directly impact that right now myself, what are the things that I can control that might pertain to that? And how can I best be in the world such that I might be able to have some sort of influence on something related to that, maybe, or even maybe if it's something completely out of our hands, simply how can I go out into the world each day and in everything I do, aim to make the world a better place, spread a little bit more of that energy, perhaps. So I would say the number 3 item on that list, that would be my hill to die on. If there's nothing else that someone was to take away from a conversation with me, that would be the thing that I hope sticks. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And I think we'll get along just fine. Manifest, what's your hill, bud?
Death to America. That's pretty much it. I'll expand upon that. There is no sustainable future in which America can exist.
In what aspect?
Well, for example, America stands in the way of human rights across the world. It stands in the way of progress across the world. It has been, and there is no evidence that it is going to stop being anything other than a presence that belongs in the past. And so moving on from it in this aspect is the primary goal. That doesn't mean that there won't be issues moving ahead. However, for example, America voted against food as a human right.
Yes, they did.
Shelter as a human right.
Yes, they did.
And in these aspects, it stands in the way of anyone having any semblance of dignity when they die across the world in that same way. Not a lot of countries have faith in America anymore, but that doesn't mean that if it's still around, it's not going to be doing its shit fuckery.
Very correct. I think we'll get along just fine. Supervillain, what's your hill? And before you answer, really quick,
Okay.
SVO, you've had your chance. We're not going to disparage somebody's ability to drive a fucking car to prove a point. Muted. Okay. So what's your hill, bud?
Ooh, so I stand at the foundation of this hill, like I stand everywhere else at the foundations. Accountability is my hill. holding people accountable for their actions, especially when it comes down to affecting other people's lives in in negative ways, that should be taken into consideration, because everybody here has been saying human rights, and I agree with that too. And accountability, holding people accountable for their actions, is part of that. And to me, that's the foundation of it. You got to start holding people individually for their actions. So yeah,
Abso-fucking-lutely.
love your face.
Love your fucking face.
Oh, I love your
Fucking
face
love
harder.
that.
Oh, don't start. I love this game. I will win. I will win. Not only have I been through hell and survived, but I will win when
You
we
know what?
race.
You know what? I love you so much. I'm gonna let you win.
Oh, yes. No, don't do that. That's not fair. I want the challenge. If you don't give me the challenge, I don't want to race you. Give me the challenge. Even if you win, let's play again. You know, let's
Absolutely.
really get to a level where when we do play and we don't know who's gonna win, it's just gonna be a whole bunch of laughs, because it's gonna be like, haha, you fell, and then I fall, or I run into a wall, and then you're like, haha. So it works.
Absolutely. Well, just to recap the episode, today we've unraveled the architecture of meaningless arguments and why we keep walking into them. We've explored how petty debates are manufactured, monetized, and weaponized to keep us distracted and divided. But we've also looked inward at the need to be right, the ego that resists correction, and the path back to meaningful connection. When we stop arguing about nothing, we free up space to fight for everything. And maybe, just maybe, we walk away choosing presence, purpose, and power. So you've made it to the end of the episode. So let's breathe. Seriously. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Because this is a tense conversation. Breathe out the last comment you didn't post. Breathe out the clapback that won't actually change a stranger's mind. Breathe in something else. Something useful. Because here's the thing, fam. Most of the things that we argue about, they're not fucking real. They don't feed us. They don't house us. They don't liberate us. They don't give us water or shelter or justice. They're performative distractions. Little fucking breadcrumb trails of fury laid out by systems that need us angry, but only at each other. When we spend our energy dragging each other, we're not dragging systems of oppression. When we cancel each other over tone, we're not canceling the billionaires robbing the world blind. And when we argue about nothing, we're literally risking losing everything. But here's the good news. The moment we recognize the pattern, we can interrupt it. We can ask, is this actually the fight? We can choose to breathe instead of clapback. We can redirect our energy towards something sacred, like healing, like organizing, like creating joy, safety, art, resistance, real conversations, real relationships, real change. No revolution ever came from the comment section, but revolutions have come from communities that learned to speak, even when they disagreed. From people who asked questions instead of throwing stones. From folks who knew when to fight and when to build. So if you're still with me, I want to offer this. Let's stop arguing about nothing. And let's start speaking for something. That might look like checking in on your neighbor instead of checking someone's grammar. It might be holding a boundary or holding your tongue. It might be choosing silence, not because you're afraid, but because you know that your energy is sacred. Next time you feel the urge to jump into a debate, ask yourself, what am I really protecting here? My pride? My purpose? You don't have to argue to be heard. You don't have to be right to be worthy. And you don't have to win to walk away whole and complete. So thank you, all of you, for showing up, for being willing to question what you defend and why, for being here in this messy, beautiful human space that I like to call interviewing humanity. Thank you for joining me on another episode. As always, I've been Sludge Knuckle. Thank you to our beautiful panel of citizens for showing up real. And as for parting words, don't waste your breath on nothing. Your voice is worth so much more than that. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Talk to you soon.
Later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Love your face. Be safe.
Hey,
It's
I
so
wanted to
funny.
add
Reports
on